for Matt Kemp to be what they were last year. 25 home runs, 17 in the second half. He had 309 in the second half. He's healthy. Hopefully good things for the two-time All-Star, that being Matt Kemp.
Yep, they're looking for Matt Kemp to continue what he did in the second half last year, right on into the start of this season as the Padres, the new-look Padres, try and get off to a fast start. Starting lineup to the first pitch coming up, Rockies and Padres from Peoria.
Out of every winter comes spring. That familiar warmth reminding us baseball is back. It is a fresh start. Hope renewed. Another chance. It is a new season with infinite possibilities. The wait is over. Spring has sprung.
Peoria Stadium in Peoria, Arizona. Padres and the Rockies coming up. Welcome inside the ballpark. Very exciting offseason for this Padre team. And today our first look on Fox Sports San Diego at the 2015 edition of the ball club. They'll be facing off against Walt Weiss and the Colorado Rockies. Here's the lineup that their manager has penned for this afternoon. A lot of familiar names and faces. DJ LeMahieu, a Gold Glove a year ago at second base, leads it off. You see Stubbs and Dickerson in there as well. McBride is in right. Paulson at first. The DH today is Tommy Murphy. Hey, there's a familiar face. Nick Hundley behind the dish for the Rockies this afternoon. Rafael Inoa, we saw him a decent amount at the tail part of last year. And Charlie Culberson at shortstop. On the hill for the Padres, Tyson Ross, an all-star last year, Mud.
He had one heck of a year, and he's looking to get better. What kind of a year? Well, there you have it. 13-14, below 500. But you know what? Can you look at these numbers and tell me why he was not even in the top 10 in Cy Young Award voting last year? A conundrum. He's got electric stuff, and we are lucky today to have him on Fox Sports San Diego, towing the slab against these Rockies.
Yeah, looking forward to it. That's DJ LeMahieu. Hit 267 last year with 5 home runs, 42 RBIs, and Tyson Ross ready to go. And we're underway this afternoon as the fastball misses a little bit outside 1-0. Mentioned LeMahieu with the Gold Glove last year at second base. 3 for 4 so far this spring. Ross ready and misses again. 2 balls and no strikes.
So what kind of year is it going to be, Jesse, for these Rockies? So many things to talk about this Rocky club. We know the action that the Padres took this offseason. A.J. Preller hard at work in his staff. Injuries, big key for the Rocks last year. Oh, huge.
Yeah, they got a little bit of good news today, or what might be good news. Troy Tulowitzki, who missed a lot of time last year. Carlos Gonzalez, who missed a lot of time last year. Both possibly going to make their spring debuts tomorrow as LeMahieu draws a 4-pitch walk against Tyson Ross to open it up here in the top of the first. Decimated be a good word for injuries last season. Take a look at the Padre defense. Will Nieves behind the plate. On the infield, Solarte back at the hot corner after he started at first base yesterday. Clint Barmas at short. Jerko at second, Alonzo at first, and Quinton, Myers, and Kemp in the outfield. First opportunity to play left for Carlos here this spring. He's an interesting story and an interesting guy to follow as Drew Stubbs takes a strike from Tyson Ross.
Yeah, defensively for the Padres. Up the middle, Barmas, Jerko, Myers. That's going to be a topic of conversation. Will Myers working very hard with Dave Roberts, patrolling center field.
He's not the only one. You see Matt Kemp out there doing extra work with him in right field. Pitch upstairs to Stubbs. Second year with Colorado last year. Career highs in most offensive categories. Saw a lot of time in center field with Gonzalez out.
First time around for Tyson Ross in spring training. All the starters have made their other starts. So Tyson this afternoon, he's going to work on the fastball. He's also working on a circle change with Darren Balsley, the best pitching coach in all of Major League Baseball for the Padres.
Hard to argue it, right? 27-year-old. As we said, an all-star last year, just missing right there. Went 13-14, a 2.81 ERA. Working very closely with Darren Balsley, who might not have liked that call, and Buddy Black.
Hey, you don't think these guys are competitive? Look at Buddy. It's spring training. That slider was right there, and Buddy's already shaking his head.
Little extra work for Tyson Ross. 2-1 is a called strike to Stubbs, and the count evens 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know what spring training is all about. We mention this every year, Jesse. It's about getting through spring training healthy, maintaining that arm, getting that arm strength to where it's going to be once the season starts, as the skipper looks on.
2-2 coming to Stubbs, and that one misses a little bit outside. In case you're wondering, the home plate umpire this afternoon is Tripp Gibson. And you might already be hearing it a little bit. (3-2) with the runner going is fouled away out of play.
Hey, how about with the pace of play this year being an issue during the offseason? How about expanding the strike zone a little bit more and calling it the way it should be?
A lot of people are asking for the strike zone to be shrunken. I think it's too big now. Too many strikeouts.
Come on.
You're a pitcher. You like strikeouts. The umpires the last couple of years have really been calling the strike zone much more closely to the rule book, and as strikeouts around baseball go up and up and up every year to historic levels, people saying maybe we need to redefine what the strike zone is. Another 3-2. LeMahieu goes again. The pitch outside. Ball 4. So back-to-back walks issued by Tyson Ross here in his first outing of the spring. Corey Dickerson going to come to the plate as Will Nieves goes to give a quick chat to Tyson Ross. And a lot of new catchers here for these Padre pitchers to kind of learn and get used to.
And that's a big thing that Buddy Black and Darren Balsley always preach. Because there might be a point in the season when Nieves is catching Ross. Get to know them. They catch a lot in the bullpens here in Peoria on their side sessions. Hey, even the minor league guys, right? Catch Andrew Kashner. Catch Ian Kennedy, Tyson Ross. Get familiar with their stuff.
Corey Dickerson, you saw the numbers, worked his way into the lineup last year for Colorado. Ended up leading the team with those 24 home runs. There's a strike from Tyson Ross.
Tyson's going to go 2 innings, 30 to 40 pitches, whatever comes first. That was the report from pitching coach Darren Balsley of the Padres.
Get to see Andrew Kashner again tomorrow in Mesa against the Cubs. Probably Ian Kennedy Tuesday here San Francisco. There's a big swing and a miss. And 0-2 to Dickerson.
Don't you just love spring training? Spring training baseball from the Cactus League on Fox Sports San Diego. It doesn't get much better, does it?
It's been a lot of fun this year. There's a new energy, a new vibe, a buzz around this team, obviously, after the offseason that they had. And it's palpable. You can feel it. It's been a lot of fun, and just getting underway here with the games. The 0-2 to Dickerson gets a piece.
Opposing hitters very familiar with that slider from Tyson Ross. That was the pitch last year, along with the occasional changeup, and of course the electric fastball.
Was a whiff rate on the slider.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Swings and misses all over the place. One of the best numbers in Major League Baseball, getting guys to swing and miss at that slider. That one's hit in the air, foul out of play to the left side. Dickerson making Tyson Ross work a little here. Darren Balsley working with all of the pitchers in camp here. The special eye, I would imagine, on guys we think are going to be in the rotation this season. And 4 of those spots, those are pretty much locked up. It's a good place to be. Another 0-2 and another foul ball.
Can never have too much pitching. In fact, Buddy Black, before the game today, talking with the scribes, somebody kind of joked and said, hey, too much pitching, Buddy. And Buddy kind of chuckled and says, no, never enough, right? That's a good problem to have when you have the abundance of arms that the Padres have in camp.
Get a look there at Balsley on the left, Buddy, of course, in the middle, and the new hitting coach, a familiar face on the right, Marcotte.
He could hit a little bit back in the day.
Wasn't that long ago that he was hitting for the Padres, and now just a couple of years removed from his playing career. The new hitting coach here, and he's got some toys in the toolbox. Huh? Another 0-2. Nieves with a nice stop.
Hey, nice block by Nieves back there.
Nieves, originally a draft pick of the Padres way back when.
This slider is going to check back up the other way. In the dirt, checks back up the other way, and he takes it right in the gut. Perfectly placed, perfect position by the veteran catcher.
It's one of those things you see the catchers working on constantly during these spring weeks. 47th round pick of the Padres back in 1995. Will Nieves. There's a fly ball to right, and it's well hit. Kemp's going to go back. And at the wall, he makes the catch. Runners will tag, trying to advance, and they will. Long way to run for Matt Kemp. You could tell he had a beat on it the entire way. Not much wind here at this moment this afternoon, and Dickerson's retired for the first out of the inning.
A lot of room in the spacious outfield here at the Peoria Sports Complex, and Matt Kemp was retreating back to the track. He had his hand out just in anticipation of touching the wall there, but did not make it to the wall. And of course, the runners, when you see that outfielder drifting back like that, go back, tag up, take that 90 feet.
And they did. LeMahieu at third now and Stubbs at second. It's only 4 games in, but we've already seen a fair number of balls misplayed in the outfield, not just by the Padres, but by the other teams. The sun here in Arizona, particularly in Peoria, the left field is so difficult. Infield pop-ups that look routine may not end up being routine as Matt McBride steps in, the Rocky right fielder. Swings and misses, 0-1. It's like no clouds, just a high sky.
I love the desert in the spring. Love spring training. Seems like the berm, outfield berm, is the popular place to be on this Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, they're all packed in there. Beautiful day, temperature around 80 degrees. 1-1. McBride out there in center field as they, in right field as they try and get Carlos Gonzalez back. Again, might be in the lineup as quickly as tomorrow. Both he and Tulowitzki for the Rockies way ahead of schedule. It's good news for Colorado.
No, she's sitting in a seat where she got a ticket. So. Okay.
Another opportunity in the outfield, a convergence in center. That's Myers, not very deep. LeMahieu will tag and bluff as he's coming home. The throw gets back into the infield, and he'll have to stay there. Nice job coming in, making the catch by Will Myers in center field, and That's another thing to watch this spring.
A lot of work with Dave Roberts and Will Myers playing on the first base side at second base. And look at that. Tyson Ross hits his spot, and he catches the ball on the first base side position. He had to come in a little bit. But here's the deal. Getting rid of that ball quickly. Get it to the infielder. Don't worry about the runner. Hey, routine fly ball for Will Myers. Yeah, he can do that. And he's working on covering the gaps as well and going back in the gaps.
You saw the communication there, too. Myers calling for it, and Barmes and Jerko almost in unison, just peeling away, getting out of the way in short center field. And now Tyson Ross, an opportunity to work himself out of this jam as the first baseman Ben Paulson comes in. Expect Justin Morneau, of course, to be the everyday first baseman for the Rockies. Won the batting title last season. Paulson comes up empty there, 0-1. Paulson, kind of a right field, first base kind of guy. And in their system the last few years, he's been behind Todd Helton, behind Michael Kadire, behind Justin Morneau. Tries to earn a spot here this spring on the roster. Out in front there, 0-2.
2 sliders, back to back. Sometimes it takes Tyson Ross a little bit to get that feel. We saw that last year.
Tyson Ross and Nieves getting on the same page. Runners take their lead. Ross looking for his first strikeout of the afternoon, and the pitch is fouled away, out of play. LeMahieu on third, Stubbs on second. They led the game off. Each drew a walk. Advanced to second and third on the Dickerson fly ball. McBride popped to center, and now Tyson Ross trying to finish off Ben Paulson.
And this is where a pitcher has to throw a ball, right? You don't want to miss over the plate. This is where you purposely throw a ball and bank on your catcher blocking it in the dirt.
Misses inside. Nieves able to keep it right there.
See what Nieves did right there? He kind of did the old change-up Aru, if you want to call it that. He patted the glove on the ground, maybe indicating to the runners maybe that the pitch was going to be down, but then it looked like he came up, and he wanted to maybe go up and out of the zone for that strikeout.
Savvy veteran move.
Yeah.
By Will Nieves. So, you know, Nick Hundley in the starting lineup for the Rockies today, and last year you had 3 catchers in camp for the Padres.
Breaking ball.
Nieves unable to hold on to the foul tip. And again, kind of an unsure catching situation, at least behind Derek Norris now for the Padres, but it's 3 completely different names than this time last year.
Another competition, right? And competition is good. I think it brings out the best in players. 5th spot, third base. Right?
Yeah.
Backup catching.
Tim Fedorovich, the other man in the mix, came over with Matt Kemp in the Dodger trade. The 1-2, he got him. Tyson Ross comes up with his first strikeout of spring training. He works around the 2 walks to open things up here in the first. And in the bottom half, we're going to get a look at that guy. Matt Kemp going to come to the plate. No score after a half an inning in Peoria. Rockies starter Tyler Matzik. Let's check in with a third member of our team, Chris Budden, hanging out down by the Padre dugout.
Thanks, Jesse. We're talking about all those new faces on the Padres, which makes for some tough decisions for Buddy Black in terms of position battles. And one of them, as you guys said, over at center field with Will Myers and Cameron Maybin battling for that spot. Will Myers acquired from the Rays over the offseason. And while some will say that him playing center field is more of an experiment, he says absolutely not. Played there several times in the minor leagues. Actually said it's his favorite position to play. So we'll see him coming up to bat. This is what the Padres really like about him, is what he can do at the plate. And we saw a little bit of it yesterday when he hit an opposite field home run off Tim Lincecum, guys.
Yeah, that was fun in Scottsdale. A line drive shot into right center field up over the bullpen at Scottsdale Stadium. Showed off some of that power.
Hey, I'm excited for Will Myers.
Yeah?
A lot of expectation. And you know who's expecting the most out of him? Is Will Myers himself.
That's oftentimes how it works.
Very accountable kid. Great kid. Spent a little time with him during the offseason. Got to know him a little bit. Sure of himself? Absolutely. But very accountable.
Left-hander Tyler Matzik deals, and his first pitch is a called strike to Myers. Matzik, a lefty. We saw him a couple of times late last season, his rookie year. Went 6-11 with a 4.05 ERA after he was called up in May. Finished this season very strong, and you might really remember one of those games as he drops in another strike to Myers. 3-hit shutout of the Padres on September 5th at Coors Field, but he also took the loss to the Padres in his last start of the season.
A lot of action against the Friars. Fastball, slider, change, curveball. They've got big plans for this kid. He can help it up to about 95. Good build for the left-hander. What would you call him? Stocky?
Sturdy?
Husky?
Sturdy.
Sturdy.
Sturdy's a nice
I've never
word.
heard that one.
No? 1-2 to Myers. He checks his swing. The appeal down to first. Dale Scott says no swing. Is the overall numbers for Matzik. First round pick out of Mission Viejo.
And a 4.05 ERA when you're talking pitching in Colorado, National League West. Only 9 home runs, right? He keeps the ball down. Pretty impressive numbers.
That's the key. 2-2 outside Will Myers. And in this leadoff spot, you like to see him working the count a little bit.
Absolutely.
Padres, you might say, don't have a prototypical leadoff
Who does,
hitter.
Jesse?
Very few teams. Handful.
There's Cameron Maybin, the DH today, waiting on deck.
Got some speed at the top of the order, Myers and Maybin. And some power coming up behind that. And strike 3 called to Will Myers as Matzik strikes out the leadoff man here in the bottom of the first inning. Take a look at the full lineup now for the Padres and Buddy Black this afternoon. Maybin coming to the plate. You just saw Myers, Matt Kemp, Carlos Quinton out in left. Jerko starting at second base. Alonzo at first. Solarte was at first yesterday. Barmes, the shortstop, and Nieves, the catcher, hitting ninth. We do have a designated hitter today, despite the fact that both clubs are National League teams. Cameron Maybin considers this an open competition in center field with Will Myers, and why shouldn't he?
Competition brings out the best in everybody, I believe.
5th season in a Padre uniform now for Maybin. Matzik misses a little bit there. 2 balls, no strike.
You know, early on in spring training, Jesse, the pitchers, they're going to flip up some breaking balls as you take a look at Matt Kemp waiting on deck to take his licks. But you got to be on the fastball this early on. You're going to probably see a lot of fastballs from the pitchers, right? They want to try to locate that. And that's why sometimes spring training numbers can be misleading. If you get a fat fastball, and believe me, I know fat. If you get a fat fastball over the plate, go to hacking, hit your rips.
3-0 to Maybin is a fastball high, and so he draws a walk. The Rockies line up defensively this way. Dickerson, Stubbs, McBride in the outfield. Dinoa, Culberson, LeMahieu, Paulson with old friend Nick Hundley behind the plate.
Stubbs in center field. He can go get him. LeMahieu, he can pick it at second base. Hey, look at Hot Rod, Nick Hundley behind the plate, as you mentioned, Jesse. Kind of different. He was a homegrown Padre, right?
Now he's in purple.
Yeah, had a little black and orange also with the Orioles last year.
Padres traded him to Baltimore last season, signed as a free agent this January with the Rockies as Matt Kemp stands in and takes a strike from Matzik. See the numbers last year and so much of the damage coming in the second half of the season. 2 for 6 with an RBI so far here in the spring.
17 home runs came in the second half for Matt Kemp of the 25 he hit last year.
Just keep it going, right?
Yes. And you know what I like about Matt Kemp? Number one is he's in a Padre uniform. Secondly, he's got that opposite field power as well. Remember last year and years past? He's got some opposite field punch at Petco Park. Stay on that fastball a little more. Let it travel. Take the breaking ball the opposite way with some authority.
He's, as you would imagine, asked a lot this spring about this outfield and how good he thinks it is, and he's come right out and said it. I think it's the best outfield in the National League. You pair him with Upton and Myers out there as Matt Kemp finds a hole on the left side. Third hit in a Padre uniform this spring. Clean single to left. May have been up to second base.
Hey, singles are fine, right? Get your hacks in. What pitch is this? Looks like a high fastball. You can see him really roll on top of that. And you know what? The grounder is better than getting underneath that pitch and popping it up for the easy fly ball. So it finds a hole. He's going to get his hits.
Why he was brought here. Still getting used to seeing him in this uniform, huh?
Yeah, and you know what is going to be fun, hopefully, to see a lot of is see the base paths clogged up with Padres, right? And having some hitters come up with a chance to do some damage like Carlos Quentin right here with a runner in scoring position.
Quentin getting the start in left field this afternoon. Lays off that pitch, 1-0. Career low 50 games last year. As we said, getting the start in left, but has seen some time in practice at least at first base here this spring as the Padres try and experiment with that a little bit. Buddy Black, though, has made it clear he's still an outfielder. He's just getting some time at first. Still an outfielder.
And the first thing I wanted to check out is the setup from Carlos Quentin. More of in a squat, remember? Because I don't want to say he was the, what was Cal Ripken, the man of 1,000 stances, remember?
Yeah.
Well, Carlos Quentin, it looks like he's opening up the knees a little bit and more a little bit of a squat in athletic position, an athletic setup, if you will, rather than more erect and straight up.
You got to be in a ready position.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
See how the feet are kind of pigeon-toed a little bit. A little bit of a squat there.
Fouls that one back to the screen, 2-1.
Because we know when this man is healthy, he can hit. Very aggressive early in the count as well.
Last year, I remember spring training, he hit one farther here than anyone did. It was up against the scoreboard in left field, and the scoreboard in Peoria is not up against the outfield fence. It's way back there over that berm. Might have hit it right near it. Pickoff play at second base, and Maben back in quickly. Love seeing teams experiment with that kind of stuff in the spring. Yep. You see the scoreboard, how far back it is.
Yeah, that's a poke. That's nearly in Flagstaff.
Is that the right direction?
I think so. Yeah. North.
2 balls and a strike to Quentin Maben at second, Kemp at first. Lines that one down the left field line. A little Cactus League souvenir.
Hey, one thing that Carlos Quentin is known for, Jesse, is turning on that inside fastball. He got a pitch right there on the inside part of the plate. Matzik, Hundley set up inside. You get it in there, you better get it way in there. It's just a matter of keeping it fair. Outfield kind of playing Carlos to go the other way as well.
Yeah, Dickerson, the left fielder.
Yep.
Couple of strides over. Stubbs in center. Playing to the right of second base. 2-2 to Q. And the count now full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Both pitchers working with a maybe smaller strike zone here in the first inning as Jed Jerko waits to hit next. Runners stay put, and the 3-2 is lined into center field for a base hit. Maben is being waved home. Stubbs comes up throwing, and it is not in time. Cameron Maben crosses the plate, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead here in the first on an RBI single from Carlos Quentin.
We mentioned the defense in the outfield going the opposite way against Carlos Quentin, right? Well, watch this swing. Front foot down. Hands are back. He waits on it just a little bit. I mean, just a little bit. takes that ball the opposite way. And with Cameron Maybin on second base, Glenn Hoffman knows the speed, right? This ball is hit pretty sharply because it's a one-hopper to Drew Stubbs. But he's got the windmill going, and that's something that's nice to see. Scoring early. Carlos Quentin with that runner in scoring position putting the ball in play.
Padres got going early yesterday offensively against Madison Bumgarner and the Giants. Couple of runs in the second inning. Here they strike in the first. Jerko with runners on first and second. Takes ball one.
You know, if the Padres get out of the gate early, Jesse, and you know this as well, it's going to make all the hitters in the lineup a little bit better to see more pitches, because if you got one guy that's hot, right, they're going to get good pitches to hit, and the guy on deck's going to have runners in scoring position possibly. It's just going to be a domino effect.
Jerko hits that one hard and foul down the right field line. Jed, 10 home runs last year in 111 games. He had the foot issue. Yonder Alonzo had a wrist injury last season. He's looked good so far this spring.
Oh, he looks svelte, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Trim.
Ball on a strike, and it misses outside to Jerko. Now 2-1.
You know, you get a bunch of guys hot in the lineup, right? It's tough to pitch around certain hitters, right?
Nowhere to hide. I mean, you just look up and down the lineup, and of course all the regulars aren't in there today. No Justin Upton, and get a sense that it's going to be a little bit different in 2015. 3 balls in his strike now to Jed Jerko. Matzek's going to take a little walk around the mound. Kemp and Quentin take their leads. 3-1 to Jerko. In the air, shallow center. Stubbs coming in. LeMahieu going back. It's going to drop in for a base hit. Hit them where they ain't. Jed Jerko comes up with his second Cactus League hit of 2015, and the bases are loaded for Yonder Alonzo with one out here in the bottom of the first.
Sometimes you just hit it right and it finds the guard spot. He hits that ball in the sweet spot, probably pops it up. It's an easy F8 in your scorebook. We'll take those all day long.
LeMahieu and Stubbs both capable of covering a lot of ground. And Jed placed it perfectly between them, and so Alonzo with the bases loaded and one out. Takes the first pitch down for a ball, 1-0.
Pretty good test right here as the bases are FOP, full of Padres. Lefty on lefty right here for Alonzo. This RBI situation.
Kemp, Quentin, Jerko. Alonzo hits the 1-0 well, deep to right center. McBride going back, looking up, off the base of the wall. Alonzo rounding first, heading to second. 2 runs are going to score, and 3 runs are going to score. A bases clearing double for Yonder Alonzo, and the Padres now lead it 4-0.
Well, the pressure is on Matzek. He's got the bases loaded, and Yonder Alonzo can just look sweet and look sweet number 1 coming at you. Have to take another look to see if that, in fact, was a fastball. Might have been an off-speed pitch, but pulled to the right center field gap. Hey, there's nothing wrong with doubles, right? Well, the big question is, hey, is Yonder Alonzo going to hit home runs? Is he going to hit 20 to 25? Hey, you know what? Who cares?
Doesn't need to in this lineup.
Hit 30 to 40 doubles. Especially if he's going to come up to the dish with guys in scoring position like that. That is A-OK.
I was talking about that with somebody the other day. This team has sort of come to Yonder now. We talked to him about it actually on Padres Social Hour and said, hey, you're not going to be looked to for power.
You do a great job on that show,
thank you so much.
Yeah.
He's just got to get on base, gap to gap. Yep. He's not going to be asked to hit home runs.
Take some pressure off him too, probably,
sure.
Right? Don't you think? That was a nice swing right there.
Here's Yangervis Solarte, and he takes a fastball up from Matzek. 1 ball and no strikes. Solarte off to a fast start at the plate here in Cactus League play. Alonzo at second after the 3-run double. 1-0 inside to Jan Hervis. 2 balls, no strikes. Solarte 4 for 8 so far with a couple of doubles.
That's a 500 average.
Yes, it is. He and Will Middlebrooks both hitting very well here early on. Hits the 2-0 on the ground to the left side. Slow roller for Culberson. Throw is in time, and Solarte retired for the second out of the inning as Alonzo ends up at third base. He's now 4 for 9. What's that?
4 for 9 would be 435. I'm going to guess.
444.
Well, that's spring training for the announcers as well.
And for the mathematicians. Clint Barmas, like Solarte before him, involved a little bit of a position battle on the left side of the infield. He and Alexi Amarista expected to split some time at shortstop. Takes the pitch outside. 1 ball and no strikes. So you got a long-time Padre catching for the Rockies right now and a long-time Rocky hitting for the Padres. Barmas began his career 2003 with Colorado. Spent the last 3 seasons in Pittsburgh. One of those good clubhouse veteran presence kind of guys. Barmas hit by the pitch. So tough inning continues for Tyler Matzik. And runners on the corners with 2 away. And the 9th man to come to the plate here in the bottom of the first inning will do so for the Padres, the catcher, Will Nieves.
Hey, I know this is spring training, right? Usually you really can't bank the season on the numbers you put up in spring training. But it just, you know, when you have the chance to put the lineup out that Bud Black has this year, right? They still got to go out and play, right? It's just on paper. Hey, it gives you some reason for some positive feelings, right?
No doubt.
Still got to go out and perform.
Ball 1 to Nieves as Matzik up over 30 pitches here in the first inning. Going to try and get out of it.
That's a workload right there. Day, spring training, it's hot out there in the field. That's a heavy workload.
1-0 chop to the left side, and off the mound, Matzik will field it, throw him out, and the side is retired. The Padres, though, bat around here in the bottom of the first inning. They score 4 times. The big hit coming from Yonder Alonzo, a 3-run, bases-loaded double. In the bottom of the first inning, and the Padres are all over Tyler Matzik and the Rockies. A 4-0 lead as we start the second inning. Back at the Peoria Sports Complex as Tyson Ross goes back out to the mound. Struck out Ben Paulson to end the first inning, and he's scheduled to work to Tommy Murphy, Nick Hundley, and Rafael Inoa here in the second.
You know what I'm hoping is going to change also, Jesse, this year for the Padres? The starting pitchers and relievers alike spending more time on the bench during that certain half.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Rather than the lack of offense and quick visits in the dugout before having to head back out there to the hill.
Murphy the DH today. Double-A Tulsa last year. 213, 5 homers.
Drillers, right?
13 RBI. They are.
Tulsa Drillers?
Yeah, they drill for oil there.
I don't think Tommy Murphy has seen many fastballs or sliders like Tyson Ross back in the Texas League.
Probably not.
That's the humidity league, Texas League.
Oof, little sticky. Texas, Arkansas. Chops this one foul at the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Starting pitcher, a guy that's going to be in the rotation. First game of spring training, you're mostly trying to accomplish what?
Establish the fastball. You might see a few changeups from Tyson Ross, but here's the thing. It's going to be tough to pick up because his changeup comes in a little firm, a little hot. But oh my goodness. Establishing the fastball is the first thing that Darren Balsley preaches to his pitchers in spring training. Getting that arm strength up as well.
2-2 pitch did not miss by much, and now a 3-2 offering and a ground ball that Barmes is able to smother. Long throw, not in time. Now you saw some good range there by Clint Barmes at shortstop, but Dale Scott says that Tommy Murphy's safe as he beats it out for an infield single.
And let's not forget the back end of this play. As we say, Clint Barmes going to his left. Now it's a short hopper. Watch Alonzo at first base. That's not an easy pick. Even though he was safe, that's a good play all the way around by the defense.
So Murphy at first, and here is Nick Hundley. 6+ years in a Padre uniform before being traded to Baltimore last year.
Well, now Nick's got to try to turn that Tyson Ross stuff around, huh? After catching it all those years?
A little bit different perspective.
Oh. He probably sat behind the home plate saying, boy, how do guys even hit this guy? Now he's got the shillelagh in his hand trying to square up Tyson Ross.
Tyson misses with the first 2. 2 balls and no strikes to his former battery mate.
That's a great baseball term, isn't it? Battery mate.
Yeah.
Love the baseball lingo.
Unlike any other sport.
And you know what? You know why that is? It's because other sports use the same type of lingo in their sport. As, you know, copying baseball. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but it's amazing how the baseball lingo travels in other sports.
A good pass in football would be a strike.
Yeah, he threw a strike, right, to his receiver.
Runner going, and a foul ball at the plate. That one took a bite out of Hundley in the batter's box. Murphy's got to go back to first.
Nice situation for a double play.
Murphy went on the last pitch. Ross kind of peeking at him, and now he checks on him. You know, James Shields, of course, who's the big free agent acquisition this offseason, one of the best pickoff moves of any right-hander in the game. And seen him working with some of the other pitchers, or at least discussing with some of the other pitchers, you know, what he likes to do, how he likes to do it. Those little things that guys can pick up from one another. 2-2's foul away.
See, that's a good point, Jesse, because that is something you can do, and it's really not going to affect your arm, right? You can work on your footwork. You can always get better at pickoffs. That's why I've always said, if you're a left-handed pitcher, there is no reason why you shouldn't have a great pickoff move. You can work on that nonstop.
2-2, and there's your double play ball. Jerko, though, has it go between his legs and into right field. Murphy's on his way to third base. He'll end up there. And runners on the corners with nobody out for the Rocks here in the second. Hard infields here in Arizona.
Well, this has got double play written all over it. It's a 1, 2, 3 hopper, and Jed just comes up on it. That's just a good old-fashioned boot right between the legs. He wants to have that one back.
So Tyson with another situation to work himself out of here in the second inning. He issued back-to-back walks in the first before getting a couple of flyouts and a strikeout to end the inning. Now an infield single and an error. And Inoa bats with runners on the corners and nobody out.
I've always felt also, Jesse, that in a situation like this in spring training, it's nice to be in these type of situations. First and third, nobody out. Try to work out of that jam like Tyson Ross did earlier after the 2 walks in the first inning.
Pops up a bunt there. Murphy, the runner at third, was not coming. Wasn't a suicide squeeze, but trying to put something in action. Another good thing to work on here. Spring training, these kinds of plays. Inoa getting the start at third base today for Nolan Arenado. Those folding chairs are another great part of spring training.
Yeah, the coaches sitting outside the dugouts.
Yeah.
I love it when the pitchers are done. They do their running in the outfield.
During the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spring training tradition right there. I wonder who started that.
We'll look into it. 0-2 to Inoa. Bounces in front of the plate, and Nieves keeps it right with him. No advance for either Murphy or Hundley.
Boy, what a nice job. Second time this afternoon that Nieves has been like a cat behind home plate. Going to his right, going to his left, smothering that pitch in the dirt, saving a run. Like a gato. El Gato.
Andres Galarraga.
Grande Gato. Gato Grande. Big cat. Great guy, by the way. Played with him in Colorado. Love the big cat. Johnny Mize also going back. Big cat. Former Yankee.
2-2 to Inoa. And he lines that one to right. Kemp coming over, not going to be able to make the catch. That'll get a run home. Hundley stops at second base as Matt fires it back into the infield. Rockies are on the board. RBI single from their third baseman, Rafael Inoa.
Well, this looked like a breaking ball from Tyson Ross. Yes, it was. Just caught too much of the plate. He tried to backdoor that pitch. Inoa stayed on it. And Matt Kemp, that's one of those in-between hoppers where it keeps it in front of him. Quickly gets that ball into second base. And that's going to do it for Tyson Ross. He's at his pitch limit. And Buddy takes the rock from the All-Star.
So Tyson Ross going to come out of this game after 45 pitches. He goes an inning plus in his first appearance of the spring. New hurler on the mound for the Pods after this. Ross here in the top of the second inning. He came over in the Justin Upton deal, or I should say with Justin Upton from Atlanta. Second appearance of the spring. Last year, split a season between AA and AAA for the Braves. 7-10 with a 4.70 ERA. Started 24 games for Mississippi and Gwinnett. And he sees Charlie Culberson, the Rockies shortstop, with runners on first and second and nobody out. Culberson bluff bunt, takes a pitch outside, 1-0.
Well, Northcraft, a two-seamer that kind of runs a little bit. Not really a sinker, but a two-seamer that runs, a slider and a changeup. 24-year-old.
Hundley and Inoa take their leads off second and first. Padres playing behind them as Northcraft finds the strike zone there, 1-1.
See that arm action from Northcraft? Kind of low three-quarter. Kind of get that running fastball, that sinker. See, now this is what Bud Black, the manager of the Padres, and Darren Balsley, the pitching coach, they want to see in a situation like this, if he can get that ground ball. Hey, a strikeout would be nice, right? To get one out. But runners at first and second, get that grounder, possibly turn two.
Spins that one to Culberson. A little bit of a different situation for Northcraft, too. Only a couple appearances out of the bullpen last year in the Braves organization. Normally a starter and being asked to work in a 2-on, no-out situation out of the pen. Foul ball at the plate, and now the count full to Charlie Culberson.
In this situation, you look at the infield for the Padres, just a little bit on the pull side. Why? Well, because the right-handed hitter, you get that sinker. You get it out in front, you pull it to the left side, maybe late or on a breaky ball as well, or early on a breaky ball, I should say, to try to get that ground ball to the left side so you can turn two.
Culberson last year did a nice job filling in for Troy Tulowitzki with his injury issues. And he hits the 3-2 up the middle. Barmes, another nice stop. They get one at second. That's all they'll get. But a second nice diving effort by Clint Barmes up the middle here in this game. All right, Tuesday, Fox Sports San Diego gets up close and personal with Coach Steve Fisher and the Aztecs. This week, the players and coaches preview the conference tournament. Plus, Coach Fisher gets mic'd up during practice. Aztec basketball with Steve Fisher is all new Tuesday at 10 on Fox Sports San Diego.
Love Coach Fisher. Jesse?
Does an awesome job. Another nice win for the Aztecs last night at home. Runners on the corners, one out. LeMahieu, the leadoff man, shows bunt, pulls back, and takes that pitch low. LeMahieu walked his first time up. Northcraft got one ground ball, maybe looking for a second. One run in for the Rockies here in the top of the second inning after the Padres got four in the bottom of the first. RBI single from Carlos Quentin and a three-run double off the bat of Yonder Alonzo to hit the base of the wall in right center field. 2 balls and no strikes now from Northcraft to LeMahieu.
Now, this is something Bud Black likes to do in spring training. Runner on third. What have we seen him before do? Remember, you can't fake the throw to third anymore, right? That was a couple of years ago. He'll put the pick off at third base. We've seen it many times.
Hits that one in the air to right. Kemp drifting back. At third, Hundley is tagging. He's going to come home. The throw from Kemp will be cut off by Alonzo. And Nick Hundley slides into home plate on the sacrifice fly from DJ LeMahieu. And it's a 4-2 game here in the second.
Well, the outfielders checking the flags out there atop the center field batter's eye. And the wind is blowing straight out. So that ball up in the air high, it's going to drift. That's exactly what happened with Matt Kemp in right field.
So 1 run in off of Northcraft. That'll close the book on Tyson Ross. And the first pitch misses to Drew Stubbs, who, like LeMahieu before him, walked his first time up. Pickoff throw it over to first base, and Culberson back in sliding. Tyson Ross goes 1+ innings here in his spring debut. Got the pitch count up to the mid-40s. Northcraft relieving him here as Culberson kind of slipped on the base going back in. Well, we've already seen one bad injury over at first base here in Peoria this spring. G-Man Choi for the Mariners in that opener. Fractured leg on a weird play there as Nieves snaps the throw.
He's got the front door open there with the right-handed hitter. Clear shot down the first base line to Yonder Alonzo.
Keeps that runner a little honest over there. Nieves now looking up and checking on Stubbs. The 1-1 pitch as the runner goes. Throw a little bit high and late. And it's a stolen base for Charlie Culberson.
Check out the leg kick from Northcraft. It's a high leg kick, not a slide step. And Nieves just working underneath that one a little bit on the shortstop side of second base.
3-1 is again stopped by Barmes. Long throw to first. Not in time. Third great play with the glove by Clint Barmes here early on in this game, but just a little bit late to get the speedy Stubbs, who was booking it up the line.
I'm surprised it was that close just because Drew Stubbs can fly. And quite frankly, I didn't think Clint Barmes was going to get to this ball. How about the first step? Contact. Off to the races to the right. One swift move, not even time enough to plant. And the accuracy of the throw, very, very close. Very close. That's a big league play right there.
Man. Saves a run, too, as Culberson now at third base. And Corey Dickerson, who's 0-for-1 with a flyout, steps in for Colorado.
And Clint knew that he had to make that play on the run, not stopping because of Drew Stubbs.
This one's hit to second. Jerko goes the short way, and the side is retired. Rockies get a couple of back. One error and a couple left. 4-2. Padres with the lead going to the bottom of the second. The Padres have a 4-2 lead over the Rockies. Bottom half inning number 2, Tyler Matzik working to the top of Buddy Black's lineup for the second consecutive inning as the Pods sent 9 men to the plate in the first. So Will Myers, second at bat, second inning. You always like when you can say that about your leadoff man. Tyson Ross started for the Padres when an inning plus allowed a couple of runs, both unearned on 2 hits, 2 walks and a strikeout, 45 pitches and 27 strikes for Tyson in his 2015 Cactus League debut. Aaron Northcraft came on in relief in the top of this inning. And now Will Myers swinging at the first pitch and popping it up to shallow left. Culberson going out, Dickerson calling, and in the sun he makes the catch. Let's head down to the Padre dugout. Chris Budden with today's starter, Tyson Ross.
Yeah, here with Tyson, 45 pitches, your first outing here in spring. How'd it feel out there today?
Physically felt good and just trying to get my timing down and execute the pitches.
You had such a good season last season. When you start this year, what's left to improve for you that you want to focus on during spring training and the start of the year?
During spring, I'm just trying to get my stride going and kind of get back to where I was at the end of last season.
I want to know what it was like during the off season. You see A.J. Preller start making all these moves, and somehow he was able to do it all and keep you and Cashner and Kennedy and add James Shields. What was going through your mind when you started to see all the moves that were being made?
Like you said, I was thrilled that they kept the 3 of us together and added a new piece. They made a lot of moves in the offseason, and I think we're going to be a better team in 2015.
How does it maybe change the mentality of the pitchers? I mean, you got 4 runs up there in the first, knowing that you guys can go out there and have the run support with the lineup that you guys put out every day.
It gives us confidence. We just got to go out there and execute and put up zeros, and I think we'll be just fine.
All right, appreciate it. Good job out there, Tyson. Jesse?
All right, Chris, thanks a lot. And, yeah, imagine being one of the players. And you're seeing the Kemp move and the Upton move and the Norris move and the Middlebrooks move. And you're saying, man, this is pretty special what's happening here. And then as Chris and Tyson said, keeping the band together, so to speak, in the rotation.
Yeah, and the one thing about Tyson Ross that really sticks out, it shows you what type of individual he is and what type of pitcher. I had a chance to talk with Darren Balsley, the pitching coach for the Padres, before the game today. And he gave me a little bit of insight about Tyson and what he's all about.
They got Maben picked off here. Throw down to second base. Fancy slide. He's out. Cameron Maben being aggressive on the base paths right there. Matzik got a peek at him, and they throw him out after the single, 2 away, and now base is empty with Matt Kemp at the plate.
Oh, going on the first move from the lefty Matzik. As soon as that leg is lifted, he is off and running. And then trying to do a little matrix move right there, and unfortunately could not find the bag before the tag was made. But Tyson Ross was throwing a pen the other day, talking with Darren Balsley while he's throwing. Darren Balsley asks him, so how's it feel to be an all-star? You know what Tyson responded with? That was last year. I like it. I like it a lot. That was in the past, right? Concentrating on 2015.
Matt Kemp got the first Padre hit back in the first inning, scored 1 of the 4 runs, and he's ahead in the count here 2-0 against the lefty Matzik. And for Tyson Ross, sky seems to be the limit.
Yep.
Young guy really put it all together last year and just trying to build on that. 3-0 now to Matt Kemp.
Hey, nothing against James Shields. A great addition to the rotation for the Padres. But Tyson Ross had better numbers than James Shields last year. Put that in perspective, right?
Called strike to Kemp, 3-1. I mean, you look 1 through 4 right now, and Buddy and Darren Balsley, they don't have to really think about anything other than what order they want to throw him out there. And he got the competition for the 5th spot as Kemp checks his swing, earns a walk, and he's aboard for the 2nd time this afternoon.
Now, granted, James Shields had 227 innings. Tyson Ross had 195, but Tyson had a 2.81 ERA. Shields had a 3.21. Good year for the right-hander, big game James. So to add him in the rotation, some kind of nice.
There it is. 41 pitches for Tyler Matzik, and that's going to be all for Tyler Matzik. Walt Weiss heads out to the mound, and he'll pull his left-handed starting pitcher out of this game. Padres with a 4-2 lead in the bottom of the 2nd. 2 outs, and Carlos Quentin coming to the plate. Padres baseball, brought to you by Petco, the power of together. By Saquon, real friendly, real close. And by Mattress Discounters. Have a good night's sleep for less. Colorado River, Grand Canyon, not too far from here.
You know, I look at that shot right there, and you know what I think of? Evel Knievel trying to jump the Snake River Canyon in the rocket. Total bust.
Jorge Rondon, the new pitcher for the Colorado Rockies. He is wearing number 95 this afternoon, but he is not number 95. Forgot his uniform. They had to give him another one, found one that fits. And Rondon has spent most of last season in AAA in the Cardinal organization. Faces Carlos Quentin with a runner on first and 2 away here in the second. Q unable to check his swing there. Strike one. Quentin got the scoring started for the Padres his last time up. RBI single. Also came around to score on Yonder Alonzo's 3-run double. Matt Kemp walked. That was it for Tyler Matzik, Colorado's starting pitcher today. And Quentin again unable to hold off on the check swing. 0-2.
Well, Jorge Rondon, 27-year-old, as you mentioned, Jesse, and he's been in professional baseball since 2006. You also mentioned a member of the Redbirds organization last season, only one game. Pretty live arm. Seems like the walks, though, through his career have bitten him.
Been an issue.
He signed as a professional in 2006. Spent a lot of time in A-ball. Finally getting a taste of the big leagues for one game last year in St. Louis.
That was his big league debut. This his second game of the Cactus League season. Quentin checks his swing that time, low and away. And the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. There's another base hit for Carlos Quentin. 2 for 2 this afternoon with an RBI.
We know he can hit the fastball. Rondon got ahead 0-2. Fastball away, slider misses. Well, he's going back to the fastball. It's down. And when Carlos Quentin has that bat flip like that, you know it's a good thing. I'd like to see more bat flips.
Q, this first couple of hits of spring training. And now Jed Jerko, who singled and scored back in the first, gets another shot here in the second. 2 away.
Oh, that was coming right for us.
The screen was an inch shorter behind the plate. You had a chance. Back to the screen again, and now 0-2 on Jed Jerko. 51 RBI last year for Jed, led the team for a second consecutive season.
And he was out a month, right?
Yeah. Plantar fasciitis.
That hurts. Have you ever had plantar fasciitis?
I have not.
It's not good. Not good.
3-run double for Yonder Alonzo last inning. Oh, 2 fastball down.
And a little education in anatomy. In between the ball of your foot and the heel of your foot, that arch, it's that tendon in there that gets strained or whatever, but it hurts.
Can imagine trying to swing a bat with that sort of pain. Wouldn't be easy. Jed had to miss some time because of that. That one gets away. Both runners going to advance as Hundley goes and retrieves the baseball. So now 2 men in scoring position for Jerko. And a 2-2 count. You mentioned the walks and the control with Rondo.
That's an issue.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Jerko. And a roller up the middle. At short, that's Culberson. And that's the 3rd out of the inning. So the Padres make a little bit of noise here in the 2nd. Jerko grounds out, and we'll go to the 3rd. Third inning, playing Colorado here on a beautiful, warm, sunny Sunday afternoon in Peoria. The manager of the Padres, Buddy Black, nice enough to join us down by the Padre dugout. How's it look down there, Bud?
You know, boys, it's as warm down here as it is up there.
What'd you think of Tyson Ross?
You know, Tyson's stuff was good, Mudcat. I thought that slider was good. Fastball command just a little off, was pulling some fastballs glove side, but again, I thought his delivery was fine. You know, his arm slot was fine. Just his release point was a little bit off. Stuff was good.
So, Buddy, from a mechanical standpoint, when you see Tyson kind of missing like that, what is the mechanical thing that people at home can watch for to get that right?
Well, I think you got to have a critical eye, Mudcat. I think that Darren sort of saw it early. He just wasn't quite finishing his pitches. He was cutting it off. I think if you look at Tyson, I think he just needed a little bit more extension out front. Finishing over his left knee just a little bit more. Again, I think he was just upright a touch and not quite getting over his left knee.
Buddy, we've talked a lot about the vibe in camp this year and the energy. Speak to a little of that, you know, from your perspective and all the new faces and everything that's gone on here.
Well, I think that I think you're right. First of all, Jesse, I think you look at the guys who are back from last year are really excited about the guys who came in. And I think the guys who came in are excited about being here in San Diego. So you have those two things together. You got a bunch of guys who are happy to be together, you know, realize the team we have and could, you know, possibly have as we get to April. And they're excited about it. So I think what you've sensed is right on.
That one just misses to Matt McBride, and now a full count from Aaron Northcraft.
Buddy, so much to talk about this Padre team for 2015, so let's start at the top. How about the leadoff position?
Well, I think you're seeing it, you know, the last couple of days. You know, we've sort of interchanged Maben and Myers. We don't have the prototypical leadoff guy that you'd like to draw up. You know, Ricky Henderson obviously being the guy that comes to mind the most is the most prototypical guy, a guy who takes pitches, a guy who's on base percentages high, a guy who's a runner, steals bases, puts a little pressure on the pitcher. Those guys are hard to come by. So, we're going to do the best we can to. Let me watch this play. We're going to do the best we can to, put who we feel at the top of the order. It gives us the best chance to get to the middle of our order. Again, we want somebody at the top who is a threat to get on base, who imposes a little danger to the pitcher, and we'll go from there. And a lot could depend on whether we're facing a left-handed starting pitcher or a right-handed starting pitcher.
You wanted to watch that play. It was made by Yangervis Solarte, third base, another conversation piece around these parts. He and Will Middlebrooks both off to nice starts here.
Yeah, you're right. I think that we feel pretty good about those two fellas. Solarte gives us nice versatility with the switch hitting component. He can go to second base. He can go to shortstop in a pinch. And you saw yesterday he played some first base. And Middlebrooks, is off to a nice start. He swung the bat well yesterday against Bumgarner and the rest of the Giants staff. He's a very good defender. Really like what we're seeing in third on the defensive side of the ball. He's got big power and a lot of upside still moving forward, at only 26 years old. So, a lot to like about both those fellas. And, we'll see how it plays out this month, but we feel pretty good about those two guys.
It's a double for Ben Paulson off of Northcraft as Tommy Murphy comes to the plate. Solarte at first yesterday. We expect to see a decent amount of that this spring, or? Yeah,
we'll get him over there. I think primarily, he wants to win the job at third base. So, most of his action can be at third, but, there's a chance, Tuesday, Jess, you might see him at first base. A little inside information. Might see him at first base against the Giants on Tuesday afternoon.
All right, we'll keep that between us. Thank you.
Don't hold that. Don't hold me to that.
Okay, we would never.
Buddy, what was it like the first exhibition game? Let's take a look at this pitch first from Northcraft. What was it like you sitting in your office and you're filling out the lineup card for your first exhibition game? What was that like?
Well, again, it's different when you write Upton in there, you write Kemp in there, hitting third and fourth. That's pretty nice. So, again, I think, more to your question is what was it like when we stepped on the field the first day when we had all 60 guys? It was sort of a different look. We have 60 guys in camp. Well over 30 guys are new to Peoria. We had some guys in the middle of last year who became new Padres. Despaigne, Gobert, some other fellas, but hadn't been to a Padres spring training before. So we got over 30 guys who are new. So, again, when those 60 guys walked on the field and you saw some of the names and you looked at, some of the skill sets of our players, I think it made everybody, have a little bit more, a little more zip in their step. So, again, we're going to continue that, continue that energy, and the guys are all on board. They're happy with the way things are going so far.
That was ball 4 to Murphy, so first and second, one away. Nick Hundley's going to come up to face Aaron Northcraft. We're talking a lot about the position players, buddy. The rotation, 1 through 4, in whatever order you want to go with, you pretty much know who's going to be there. But that fifth spot very much up for grabs, huh?
Yeah, it is. We think that between Brandon Morrow and Ordesimer Despaigne and Robbie Erlin and Matt Whistler and Jason Lane, we have 5 guys that are going to fight for that spot. We feel pretty good about it. Again, if those guys stay healthy and pitch like they're capable of, we feel as though we have a quality guy going out there on the 5th day. And more importantly, the top 4 guys, if they have their spring in order, make their starts, build their arm strength, we feel pretty good about those 4 guys going against any 4 guys in our league. So, we feel good about our pitching. And our bullpen is, we feel solid.
A couple of runs come in there on the Nick Hundley liner to right. Game now tied 4-4. Hundley on second base as he drives in a couple.
Well, buddy, what's your assessment of Northcraft coming over from Atlanta with Upton? What are you seeing him this afternoon?
Well, Muddy's got good movement to the fastball. He's got a little slider. It seems a little bit flat today, but it's got good action to it when thrown properly. He's a guy that our scouts liked, as far as his overall stuff. His arm works well. again, I think there's a ground ball in his game if he gets that ball in a good spot because it's got a lot of sink to it. And I think, you know, in the future, you're going to be very tough on right-handed hitters with that slider and that arming.
Rafael Inoa steps in now, and he takes strike one from Northcraft.
Hey, buddy, you know what I love about spring training? We get the chance to talk to you like this, but can you do me a favor if this situation comes up in this game? I'm going to put in a request. Runner on third. I love the pick off to third base. Could you put on the pick off to third base?
Well, you know, Mud, let me, you know, if the opportunity arises and it's the right situation, maybe we will.
Because here's why I say that, and I know you are a big proponent of this. You want, whether it's a double-A pitcher, a big league pitcher, you want them to be familiar when they're in Philadelphia or they're in Atlanta, and you got to put that play on.
Well, here's the deal. That, you know, the good part about spring training is
Alonzo unable to recover after that bobble. So.
You know, all our guys are getting exposure to the coaching staff. You know, what we do, what we do as far as our bump plays, our cutoffs and relays, our defense of the first and third, you know, all the things that you need signs for. It exposes Hedges and Gale and Nieves and Fedorovich and Erickson and our, you know, all our young infielders to what we do. So when they go out to their affiliates,
right.
You know, they're familiar with all we do at the big league level. So in the event that they do come to San Diego, they do have some experience. They have some practical game experience here in spring training, which, you know, lends itself to being more comfortable once they get in a big league game. So, you know, everything we do with all 60 players is with the intent that one day these guys will be San Diego Padres. And, you know, that's why, you know, all the hard work we put in the morning, what we do in the morning as far as meetings, you know, what we do as a coaching staff one-on-one with players is all with the idea that, you know, when these guys do get to San Diego, they know what's expected of them in a big league game.
0-1 to Charlie Culberson with runners on the corners and one out.
I think it might be a good play right here, buddy. Put on the pick off to third base.
You know, Mark, I think we're going to let Aaron try to get a ground ball here to the left side and turn a double play.
Nice. You calling it?
Yeah, I'm going to call it.
Barmes has looked great over there. Has flashed some very nice leather at shortstop. And that's, I guess, what we would expect from Clint Barmes.
Right.
Well, you can see what Buddy was talking about, that action on that slider and the two-seamer from Northcraft, trying to get that ground ball. Kind of a low three-quarter funky angle to the hitter.
Buddy, I want to ask you about a guy that was sitting down with you. Mark Kotze, the new hitting coach this year in this role. How's that going so far?
Mark's doing great. I think the dynamic between him and Alonzo Powell has been very solid. You know, both guys with a lot of energy, a lot of passion for hitting. You know, obviously Mark just a couple of years away from being an active player, has a good feel for you know, what's going on. I think he was headed in this direction as a future staff guy, coach. You know, later in his career, I think he you know, knew where his future was after you know, being a player. So he's doing very well, and I think the guys have taken to him for sure.
3 balls and a strike. The count to Charlie Culberson. He's 0 for 1. Reached on a fielder's choice and stole a base back in the second. Fouled away. Another position battle, if you will, that we've discussed is the catcher position behind Derek Norris. You see Will Nieves in there today. Tim Fedorovich comes over from the Dodgers. Is there a date in mind, whether it's catcher, third base, anywhere, that the coaches have and that you have, where you hope those things kind of come into focus a little?
Not really. I think that, you know, as we go through spring, these things will become clear. There's no hard date, you know, when we have to make a decision. You know, I think as when we get into the last week of March, you know, things will crystallize to what we need to do. So, again, no hard date. You know, we're going to let these guys play and compete and, you know, continue, you know, to show us what they can do. But you're right. These two fellows are fighting hard for, you know, for a spot in the club. You know, they're all these guys, you know, who are, you know, whether it's a couple of those last spots in the bullpen or whether it's the catcher position or third base or a couple spots on the bench are you know, are pumped for the competition. Guys like challenges. So, and they're going about it the right way, to a man.
Payoff pitch coming to Culberson, and with the runner at first, Enoa going, another foul ball.
Buddy, what's the latest on Jose Valverde? I've heard some good things.
He's throwing the ball well. He pitched the other day and had a nice clean inning, but his bullpen sessions have been solid. The ball's coming out of his hand really well with good stuff. He's got a tremendous split finger that acts as a nice change of pace, and the velocity's fine. Low to mid 90s and so forth. So, he's throwing the ball well.
That's a base hit past Alonzo. Hundley scores, and the Rockies now a 5-4 lead. Buddy, really appreciate you taking a few minutes to hang out with us this inning, and enjoy the rest of the game.
Okay, guys.
Buddy, thank you so much.
You got it.
Bud Black, manager of the Padres here, as Aaron Northcraft continues to try and work out of this thing a little bit. Good experience for a guy. Started off in the minors this year, and thanks to Buddy for chatting with us. Plenty of interesting stuff going on around this team, that's for sure.
Yeah, much appreciated that the skipper for the Padres takes time out to give us a little insight. And, it's outings like this that Buddy will remember. Good, bad, and different from guys that come over in trades, whether you're a double-A guy or a rookie ball guy, whatever the case may be, that he will store and think about. And, Culberson doing a fine job of not trying to pull that last pitch. Staying back on it, punching it the other way.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of foul balls in this game, some patient at-bats by both sides. And the bats have been working. Rockies with a 1-run lead here in the top of the third. Darren Balsley was out chatting with Aaron Northcraft. Another opportunity maybe coming for your pickoff play.
We got action in the Padre bullpen. Number 97, Brandon Alger, not Agler, Alger, A-L-G-E-R.
Left-hander at a minor league camp, called up today along with Jerry Sullivan. Couple of extra pitchers to be used in case they're needed.
Hey, while I have a second, big shout out to a man who I dearly love, Dick Enberg, back home in San Diego. Watching the game this afternoon with his daughter Jennifer. We wish them well in our thoughts and prayers. And hang in there, Professor. We miss you. Jennifer, big Padre fan. Huge. One of the best Padre fans ever. Thinking about you. Wish you well. Love you both.
Absolutely. There's that ground ball to short. Barmas for one. Jerko turns it. Double play. 6-4-3 off the bat of DJ LeMahieu. And Northcraft gets himself out of the inning. Rockies score 3. They lead by 1 as we go to the bottom of the third.
He's a great guy. He keeps everybody loose, but the one thing is he wants everybody to work hard. I mean, just me being in San Diego in the off season, just the buzz around the city, I feel like it's different. Even when I was in a different jersey, you know, it was a different buzz when it came, you know, to talking about the Padres. Now, you know, the team or the fans are really, really excited to wear Padres jerseys. And I think that, you know, Petco's going to be really electric this year.
Matt Kemp saying a lot of what we've been hearing from around San Diego. Very excited about the buzz around town, the excitement, and, yeah, the expectations. And these guys, they're excited about the expectations. Nobody's trying to shy away from this thing.
Can't go anywhere in town without a Padre fan mentioning something about Matt Kemp, Justin Upton, James Shields, Tyson Ross. I can go on and on and on. Andrew Kastner, Ian Kennedy.
Gotta love it. Yonder Alonzo leading off against the new Rocky pitcher John Gray, and he sprays that one down the left field line and finds the first row of seats. Gray, a 23-year-old minor league guy, first-round pick back in 2013. 24 starts last year for those Tulsa Drillers. Went 10-5 with a 3.91 ERA.
Those are good numbers for the right-hander.
Not bad at all. Yonder, though, is going to go fishing in the gap for a second time. That one's going to roll to the wall. And Yonder Alonzo, in 2 bats this afternoon, has 2 doubles, and he knocked in 3 the first time up.
Hey, to the pull side as well. Gray delivers. Fastball up, and he is all over it. It's an in-and-out afternoon for Yonder Alonzo. Double-double.
I see what you did.
Slap some cheese on that one. That's a good-looking swing by the Padre first baseman.
First couple hits of the spring for Alonzo. Both go for extra bases. And a leadoff base runner for the Padres. Down a run here in the 3rd against John Gray. Switch hitting Jan Hervis Solarte now. First pitch swinging, and a pop-up to shallow right. LeMahieu going back. It'll be the right fielder McBride calling for it. He makes the catch, 1 away. So Solarte 0 for 2 this afternoon, and Clint Barmes will come to the plate. He was hit by a pitch his first time up. Made a couple flashy plays in the field so far this afternoon. Started the double play to help get Aaron Northcraft out of the top half of this inning. And Barmes' first pitch swinging comes up empty, 0-1.
Spectacular plays in the field this afternoon for Clint Barmes. 2 to his left, 1 to his right that nearly got a speedy Drew Stubbs.
And that's what you expect out of Clint Barmes, a guy that his entire career, whether in Colorado or Pittsburgh, was a really, really good defender. There's another play to shortstop. This time, though, it's Culberson, and he makes a nice play to return the favor. Great play at short by Culberson. Alonzo ends up at 3rd, 2 away.
That ball nearly ate him up. I thought that ball was going to carry him off the glove, maybe into shallow left center field. This ball's got some serious top spin on it. 1 hopper, plus he's shielded by the runner. He got screened by the runner. Alonzo held his ground as quickly or as long as he could there to try to maybe disrupt the vision and timing, but that was a heck of a play by Culberson.
Well, Arenado gets it done at 3rd. LeMahieu gets it done at 2nd. Tulowitzki generally at short. They got the ground ball infield thing figured out in Colorado. Some of the best defenders in the National League, and a nice play there by another one of those guys, Culberson. Will Nieves takes fastball strike 1 from John Gray. Grounded back to the pitcher to end the first inning. A first inning in which the Padres sent 9 men to the plate. Gotta love to see the bats coming alive, even if it is spring training and all of that. Jammed by that one, pops it up over the screen, 0-2. Yesterday against the Giants, a couple of home runs. One by Reimer Liriano late, one by Will Myers early. Corey Spangenberg at a 2-run single. Lexi Amarista drove in a couple of runs, and the bats continuing to stay hot here against Colorado. 0-2 to Nieves, out in front, strike 3, and that'll do it. Yonder Alonzo stranded at 3rd after the leadoff double. We'll go to the 4th inning in Peoria. Rockies with a one-run lead over the Padres. New pitcher out on the mound, Dale Thayer, going to warm up and get some work in, and very happy to be joined in the booth by the president and CEO of the Padres, Mike Dee, joining us. How's this spring training treating you so far?
Today has been spectacular. What a day here in Arizona, the Valley of the Sun.
Yeah, love it.
First day of the year for you guys. Welcome back to the air.
Thank you.
You in mid-season form, Bud, or are you dusting off the cobwebs a little bit?
Dusting off the cobwebs, I'll admit it. I mean, I'm so fired up for Padre baseball this year, especially coming over. I love the desert and spring training. Who doesn't?
Yeah, it's the best.
But we've talked about the expectation and the moves this offseason, Mike, and my goodness. One of the radio voices, Jack Corrigan, came up to us before the game in the hallway, and he goes, boy, the Padres sure were quiet this offseason. Talk of baseball, right?
Yeah, it was fun. You know, it was a lot of fun to be a part of it and see how AJ and his guys went about getting us to where we are today. But it's really even better to see everybody in uniform and, you know, see guys out there on the field wearing the Padres uniform makes it all worth it.
Have you gotten used to yet seeing Matt Kemp, Justin Upton, James Shields? And it's only been a couple of appearances for these guys. Stubbs into shallow left field. That's Barmas. Got it. One away.
You know, I haven't. Although just being here, you know, before the game today, being over at the complex, you're starting to see like some of the clubhouse chemistry and the dynamic come together. I mean, you know, it's certainly going to be a search for leadership on the bench and in the clubhouse, and there's a lot of candidates for that role with this team. You know, I think, you know, last year we were anxious to find out who was going to take that leadership role, and there was a vacuum. I don't think that's going to be a case with this year's club, and to see those guys again in uniform is a great thing.
You know what I see, Mike? It's touching upon the same point you just made, is that each player, I think, is going to be accountable for each other, right?
Yeah.
If something doesn't happen correctly or not the right way, there's going to be a guy that's going to step in and say something about it. I think there's a lot of that, and that's a good thing, I think.
And you were, you know, Mud, you were a part of clubs like that where you had veteran guys who had success on the field, that they started to raise the bar, and there was a standard set for other guys who may not have had that same level of success or experience at the major league level to follow. So, again, I think you're going to see that evolve as the season goes on. I know Buddy, I know you just had him on, is very optimistic about that, you know, clubhouse chemistry. And, you know, by I think May, June, you know, when guys really get comfortable with one another. I mean, you know, you jumped around to a few teams. How long did it take for guys? And
it doesn't take long because, you know, everybody, you know, the word gets around. If you trade for Matt Kemp, you trade for Justin Upton. You know, these guys know. They're friends of guys on other teams, so the scouting report gets around really quickly, and it doesn't take long. And speaking from experience, going to a new team, sure, you've seen them, you know, on TV, and you've played against them, but it doesn't even take a week to get familiar with your teammates.
Yeah.
Got to figure, too, in spring training, you're spending so much time around one another early on in the day, and the workouts, it's a great opportunity for bonding. Dale Thayer working here to Corey Dickerson, and the count now full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. The expectations and the excitement around the team are obviously elevated thanks to everything that took place. I know that's been reflected, ticket sales and everything like that, and right out of the chute, the home season opens up in a fun way. The defending champs come in for 4.
Amazing, and you know, the first 4-game series tracking right now to exceed 160,000 fans at Petco, with the possibility of 4 consecutive sellouts to start the season, which would be unprecedented in even Petco Park history.
Giants coming in as you get opening day, of course, on Thursday, April 9th, opening night with the party at the park on Friday, laser show on Saturday, and military opening day and Kids Fest on Sunday. Padres.com/tickets. Laser show piques my interest.
Yeah, what's that, Mike?
Laser show is going to be good. It's kind of the digital age that we're in, you know.
Are we going disco? Are we going Studio 54?
Well, we're going, you know, fireworks are kind of, you know, 8-track cassette-like in some respects, you know. I think the laser show is more reflective of 2015 and the digital age we live in. So, but I think Friday night, too, Jess, is going to be great. You know, that'll be the first night game where we have the video board on full display, and I know we've got a plan for that night to post-game use the video board with the house lights down to really show its full form for everybody. So that'll be a lot of fun Friday. But go ahead, Mike.
Mike, I saw a picture online. I haven't been down to Petco recently, but that new scoreboard, oh my goodness. That is awesome.
It's like it came in from outer space. I mean, that's how big it is. But I will say this. The first day I saw it, when I walked out, I said, "Oh boy, it's big. It might be too big."
No.
And now I've gone out and you see it, day in and day out, and it looks like it fits. It's the right scale and proportion. And
yeah.
It's going to be something I think the fans are really going to learn to love immediately. That will take no adjustment for the fans that like the new video board.
I will tell you this, because traveling to other venues, Atlanta, Seattle, Houston, it does so much for the game experience for the fan. Not only the fans, but the announcers as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I dig that stuff.
Well, the players have talked about it a
Right.
lot. It's the talk of spring training, and obviously, they had to record stuff for it. They came in, they did all their shoots before these games started, and the guys are talking about it. They're pumped up about it. Some of the pitchers are asking, "Hey, is it going to be like this place? I really like it here."
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just us and the fans that get into it, the players as well.
Yeah.
Talking to Mike Dee, the president and CEO of the Padres, as Dale Thayer works to Matt McBride, and the 1-2 pitch is popped up out of play behind the plate.
Thayer looking like he's in midseason form out there, huh?
Yeah.
It's just,
he shaved this morning.
Yeah. He's,
Got a haircut.
He woke up at 6 and had a shave.
by the way, also
He's got the 3 o'clock bush working.
all of left field is going to be, the video board will be the center of the table, of course, and we'll get most of the attention. But the new 7-foot home run fence that goes from the bullpen area almost to the Western Metal Building, and then you have a new 5-foot fence that covers that last little bit by the Western Metal Building, are really going to make the park play differently, and sets the stage for some dramatic over the fence home run saving catches.
So a 5-foot high wall in left, up against the line.
Just down by where your studio is, Jeff, by the Padres Social Hour studio, but then the rest of left field now is 7 feet, and that's in place. And here we go.
Paulson
Nice
to the left,
hit by
Quentin
Dale.
makes the catch, and hey, Mike Dee, really appreciate you coming by. Padres.com/tickets. Opening weekend against the Giants all season long. Going to be a lot of fun.
Great to be here, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Big season ahead.
Of the game, yonder Alonzo 2 for 2 this afternoon, including this one, a 3-run bases clearing double in the first inning. That's the big shot for the Padres offensively here this afternoon. Missed a grand slam by that much. Nice to see Yonder swinging a good bat here today in this new look Padre lineup.
A lot of base runners clogging up the baselines, right? The base paths, giving opportunities. Sure, it's spring training. Sure, it's only March 8th, but I tell you what, it beats the alternative, right?
Absolutely. Will Myers, third trip to the plate this afternoon. He's 0 for 2. And he takes a breaking ball called strike from John Gray, 0-1. Myers led off in the first, led off in the second, here leading off in the fourth. Mudd alluded to those base runners. Padres have kept busy offensively today. Gray enters his second inning of work after he relieved Jorge Rondon. And the 1-1 is swung on and missed. Mudd, I know you appreciate the no batting gloves.
Love it.
Will Myers.
Yeah. Going old school. You know, Will and I talked during the offseason, and he was compared to a very good big leaguer back in the day, Dale Murphy. Will came up as a catcher, drafted as a catcher. Dale Murphy, big guy like Will. Also Dale Murphy, power right-handed hitter, right? Of course, Murph moved to the outfield. Well, Will Myers now making the move to the outfield.
Going to try the center field thing out today. What an outfield for the Padres, and what a difference an offseason can make. 2-2 is strike three called, and Myers goes down looking for the second time this afternoon. Tomorrow on Fox Sports San Diego, the NBA returns as Chris Paul and the Clips take on the Timberwolves live from Staples Center. Coverage begins at 7 with Clippers Live right here, Fox Sports San Diego, presented by Jerome's Furniture.
CP3, right?
Yeah, Chris Paul. Kevin Garnett back in a T-Wolves uniform, too. There's Cameron Maybin. DH this afternoon, on base twice today. Walked and scored in the first, singled his last time up. Shows bunt there, and he takes one low. Giving the third baseman, Rafael Noah, something to think about.
You know, you alluded to it earlier, Jesse, about the infield being hard here in spring training. I mean, it's like, you know, with the sun just baking that infield. Gets to be very hard, especially out in front of home plate. So when you chop a ball, you get those high choppers, a good chance for a base hit.
Beautiful mountains in the distance here in Peoria. Sunscreen kind of day, aren't they all?
Oh. I'm wearing the 100 today on this dome.
Cam fouls the 2-0 pitch back to the screen. Got to be sun smart.
It's a good lid day.
Padres hats, Arizona State hats, Rockies hats. Find shade where you can. Maybin takes the 2-1 for a called strike, and the count evens up. Mentioned it earlier, but Maybin, when asked about the center field situation, says, yeah, I'm competing. I want to start in center field. Buddy Black said he loves that. He wants his guys to want to start, wants them to feel like it's an open competition. He said it is. Maybin limited to 95 games last year. Of course, had one of the injuries in spring training, which is a frustrating way to start things off. Fouls this one back behind the plate. It'll find the seats.
Jesse, a lot going on here at the Peoria Sports Complex. Some renovations. And as far as the playing field is concerned, we mentioned it, but the yellow line in center field, remember, that batter's eye was in play. If that ball hit off the batter's eye, it was still in play. But now if the ball goes over that yellow line, it is a home run.
Saw that in the first game with Justin Upton. Maybin tries to hold up. He can't. And it's back-to-back strikeouts for John Gray here in the fourth.
Pretty good fastball, located fastball as well, as Cameron Maybin checks his swing, but it's a called strike anyway.
Matt Kemp gets another opportunity. Singled and scored his first time up, walked in the second.
You can see why John Gray was selected in the first round, 2013, third overall for the right-hander. He should wear number 50, shouldn't he?
Gray. Everyone will call him Shades. Like Matt Kemp, an Oklahoma guy. Pitch misses inside, 1-1. 1-1 pitch, and Kemp hits it in the air pretty well out to right field. McBride has a beat, makes the catch, and the side is retired. So for the first time this afternoon, the Padres go down in order. On to the 5th in Peoria. The only sport without a clock. That is not entirely true anymore, as you get an opportunity to see the between inning clock counting down here at Peoria Stadium, trying to keep the pace of game moving as quickly as possible. Some of the new initiatives here in 2015.
Yeah, and when we look at these suggestions are going to be in place this year, it's not so much to, rapid fire the game of baseball. It's just to keep that pace going to where it is not slowed down. So 40 seconds remaining. The batter is announced. 20 to 5 seconds remaining. Batter enters batter's box. They just want to keep a nice, smooth pace going. It's not speed up rules.
Matt Kemp, his afternoon is done, trying to find his way out of Peoria Stadium.
Well, you're going to have to stay, Matt.
Put him back in right field. Someone was nice enough to unlock the gate for him. Joaquin Benoit out on the hill for the Padres, as Dale Thayer worked an inning and struck one out, walked a batter. Tommy Murphy leading it off against Benoit. Closers having to come in the middle of a game and trying to get their mentality right. Always an interesting part of spring training. And he delivers strike one to Murphy.
Well, great job by Benoit last year. Remember, Houston Street going to the Halos, so Joaquin Benoit, who has closer experience, look at those numbers. Opponents only hitting $151. He was spot on last year. And you know what? Trevor Hoffman, as Tim Fedorovich straps on the gear, and he's behind home plate. In spring training, Trevor Hoffman always came in the 5th inning because a lot of changes, right? And he didn't want to face the guys he's going to face during the regular part of the year. So he would get his work in the middle of the game and face those AA guys, face those guys that are being changed during the course of a game.
It's interesting. And
so there was a method to his madness.
Yeah, a couple of ways to look at that. That's one, and the other is you want to face big league competition. And, some of the closers, they like to come in even earlier sometimes in the 3rd inning. Saw Santiago Casilla early for the Giants yesterday. Corey Spangenberg replacing Jan Hervis Solarte at 3rd. So those are the changes for the Padres here in the top of the 5th inning. Benoit on the mound, Fedorovich behind the dish, Spangenberg at 3rd, and Venable in right. 2-2, got him. Nice pitch by Benoit as he had Tommy Murphy out in front. Strikes out the first man he faces here in his 2nd appearance of the spring.
We know Benoit has the fastball, and he also has the changeup. That's the changeup there. The old trap door just dropping right out of the bottom of it.
Venable out in right field once Matt Kemp found the door. They let him leave. 1 away. And Nick Hundley at the plate against another guy he caught last year. Takes the first pitch up. Hundley scored a couple of runs this afternoon. Two-run double his last time up. Reached on an error back in the second inning. Hit the ball well for that two-base hit. Takes a fastball outside.
How about Joaquin Benoit? One of the few relievers that goes from the full windup.
Yeah.
A lot of relievers out of the pen go from the stretch.
Ian Fedorovich get on the same page, and the 2-0 to Hundley is back to Benoit. Pitcher's fielding practice every day during spring training pays off there, 2 away.
Ball hit sharply to the right of Benoit, and he has good reflexes to reach all the way across, snag it on the one hopper. Slider down and away. Plenty of time to make the underhand throw over to first base.
Nice
the underhand
pick.
toss.
Nice pick. So 2 up and 2 down for Benoit. And the switch hitting Rafael Inoa at the plate for the Rockies.
Love the changeup of Benoit. Yeah, you've got this guy out there. He looks like he's, 6'8". Big burly, husky right-hander. And then he drops that dead fish on you.
Sturdy guy.
Yeah. His whole demeanor as well. He's unflappable.
Yeah. He's got that relief pitcher's mentality.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
Nothing seems to bother him. And boy, this bullpen this year again, historically good last year, and then they go out and they add a couple of really impressive pieces. Thayer and Vincent and Quackenbush and Benoit all coming back, and you add a Sean Kelly from the Yankees, Brandon Maurer from Seattle.
Jose Valverde, as Buddy said earlier, is throwing the ball really well.
Scott Elbert, a veteran guy that we saw with the Dodgers, is in camp. He looked good yesterday. No such thing as too much pitching, and the Padres trying to build on a strength in this bullpen.
An abundance of pitching.
Benoit ready, and a 2-1 to Inoa. Fouled away, 2-2. Inoa, an RBI single in the second, reached on an error in the third. All the Padres runs in this game coming in a very busy first inning. Carlos Quentin, an RBI single, and Alonzo, 3-run double. 3-2, got him. Nice 1-2-3 inning for Joaquin Benoit. A couple of strikeouts. Second appearance of the spring for Benoit, looking like he is in mid-season form. He got Murphy, and then he got Inoa. A couple of Ks, 5-4 Rocks. Padres baseball, brought to you by Petco, the power of together. Cacti in the Arizona desert as the Padres come to bat here in the bottom of the 5th inning. They trail the Rockies by a score of 5-4. Beautiful Sunday afternoon here in Peoria.
That was of the saguaro type, wasn't it?
I do not know my cacti that way. Chris Rusin, the new man on the hill for the Rockies. I'll study up for next game. Rusin in his first year with the Rockies, spent the previous 6 seasons in the Cubs organization. He delivers outside to Carlos Quentin. 1 ball, no strikes. Good afternoon at the plate for Q so far. 2 for 2, couple of singles, knocked in a run, scored another. Good to see him, healthy, getting the start in the outfield and being productive at the plate.
Boy, when he is on, healthy, we know. Opposite field power, pull power, squaring the ball up nicely.
There's a strike to Quentin. Rusin in May of last year threw a no-hitter for the AAA Iowa Cubs. It was the first for that team since 1984.
Yes, 1984, I-Cubs.
Speaking of no-hitters, you see the Braves today?
We were talking about that earlier. How about a combined no-hitter in spring training for the Bravos?
In a 2-2 tie. That's my favorite part against the Astros. Pitch misses to Quentin, and Carlos on base for the 3rd time this afternoon. He draws the leadoff walk here in the 5th. Looking for a place for your next group outing? The Tanninga Padres game as a group is a great option for corporate outings, client receptions, youth leagues, parties, family reunions, and more. From the Western Metal rooftop to the Jack Daniels deck, there's a space to fit your personal needs. To book your next group event, contact Group Sales at Padres.com or call 619-795-5010. Jed Jerko, first pitch swinging, lifts the ball in the air to left field. Parker, the new left fielder for the Rockies, makes the catch. 1 away. Abraham Almonte, the new runner at first base. Pinch running for Carlos Quentin, who certainly did his job here this afternoon.
Some good ABs, huh?
Very nice.
Couple of knocks, an RBI, a run scored, and a free pass.
Good day for him at the plate, and already a good day for this guy as well, Yonder Alonzo.
Another lefty-on-lefty situation. Or he singled, or doubled rather, first at bat off Matzik. Cleared the bases.
Love to see the bases full, and you love to see him cleared in that situation. Runners in scoring position, situational hitting. That's how you have a big inning. And Alonzo delivers again. A line drive over Eno is headed into left field. Yonder Alonzo 3 for 3 this afternoon. Couple of doubles, now a single. And the Padres have 2 men on with just 1 out here in the 5th.
Pulling the ball to right center field 2 times for the double. He stays on this pitch and takes it the opposite way where it was pitched over the head of Enoa. Let's check it out. Lefty on lefty. Little breaky ball, little cutter away. Does a nice job of not trying to pull that ball. That's the way the Rockies were playing him as well. I hit it on the line nicely to left. Seeing the ball extremely well here in Peoria.
Love it. Alonzo on first, Almonte on second, and Will Venable at the plate for his first at-bat of the afternoon. Came in to play defense for Matt Kemp in the top half of this inning. Shoe change for Carlos Quentin after his productive day at the plate. And the first pitch to Venable swung on and missed.
Probably putting the turfs on. Carlos, giving the dogs a little bit of a rest.
Venable had a nice second half last year. Hit .261 after the All-Star break with 6 homers. Finds himself in a little bit different situation here at the start of 2015 than he did at the end of 2014. And he seems to be taking it in stride. Buddy Black was talking about it this week. He's a guy that understands the situation. He knows what they've done. He knows why they did it. And now he fits into the puzzle a little bit differently. Pick-off play at second. Rusin, though, just steps off. The other thing is, we talk so much about all of these position battles, and the depth and the extra guys. Now, look, ideally, you go through the whole season and you don't change a thing. Everybody's always hot. Everybody's always healthy. Rarely does that happen. And so this sort of next layer of guys becomes so valuable, knowing that they're going to be asked to fill different roles at different points in the season.
And being right-handed heavy, also, you got that left-handed bat in Venable, who could fill that.
Defensively, you're comfortable with him at any of the outfield positions.
Hey, late inning, pinch runner, you steal a base. They bring that right-handed reliever in late. You can counter with Will Venable off the bench.
Venable asks for time. It takes us back to pace of play a little bit there. After you take a pitch, that's one of those initiatives. You're not supposed to step out of the batter's box. But you can still call for time, still get to step out after a foul ball, or if you get brushed back, anything like that. Be interesting to see how much of an impact it really makes.
And let's not forget, it's just not the hitter. It's the pitcher as well. The pitcher's not going to be able to take that baseball and, mosey on around the back of the mound and, check out the stands and take a look at Will Venable on this last cut. Oh. It's got to hurt, huh? Did that hit the catcher or the umpire?
Looked like the catcher.
Yeah.
There's a ground ball, and on the left side, it could be two. Nice flip and not in time. Venable, as we said, runs very well. So a 6'4" fielder's choice. Alonzo off the bases. And now runners on the corners with Clint Barmas coming up.
On the benefit of that ball not being hit hard, right? It got jammed. Even sounded like broke the bat of Will Venable, enabling him to get down the line quickly to keep the inning alive.
Barmas made a couple of nice plays in the field this afternoon. Hit by a pitch his first time up, and maybe a base hit taken away his first time up, and there you go. A line drive right to third. Inoa makes the catch, and the side is retired. No runs on a hit, and a couple left for the Padres. We're through 5 in Peoria.
Arizona joined with one of the new faces on the squad, James Shields. Thanks for joining us. You get your first start yesterday in spring. How did it feel for you?
Felt great. I mean, I threw one inning, so it wasn't too much work. But it's always good getting out there and getting a little sweat going and a little bit of adrenaline. So it's good.
You pitched so deep in October. Was part of this kind of just easing into it a little bit for your arm?
Oh yeah, it had a little bit to do with it, but more or less, just I've been doing it every year. I've been throwing one inning. I think my first outing every single year, and at least from what I can remember. But, you know, I mean, it's just kind of typical for me, and everything's feeling good right now.
Well, we're glad to have you here, and you look good in the Navy. When it came down to the offseason and you came to the Padres, what intrigues you about this team and the coaching staff?
You know, I think the fact that the owners they want to win, and they want to win now. And I think I saw that, and everybody else saw that this offseason, the way that A.J. Preller was making his moves. And, you know, I mean, obviously the added bonus that I live there. But for me, the most important part was winning. And, you know, I definitely see that here.
When you look at the moves that they made in getting Kemp and Upton and the rest of the pitching rotation that you already have, is this a team that can go far in the postseason? You played on a team that has, so does this have the potential?
Yeah, definitely the talent's there. We just got to put it together. I mean, it's a grind of a season, 162 games, so, you know, we got to grind it out. And, you know, you just never know what's going to happen every single year. We just got to be consistent. Final
question for you. Whenever you talk to a Padres pitcher, they rave about Darren Balsley. What's your relationship been like with him so far?
He's been amazing. I mean, you know, obviously I can't wait to work with him during season, when the action starts. But, you know, so far so good, and he's been great. I mean, he's really good with the guys. He works real hard, and I hear a lot of good things about him.
Well, I appreciate the time. It's good to see you. Guys?
Chris, James, thanks a lot. He's an impressive guy, and, you know, we know about the durability and the arm and the talent as Charlie Culberson strikes out looking against the new Padre pitcher Alex Torres. But to kind of feel the energy and the sort of leadership that James Shields brings to this pitching staff, it's going to be fun having him around.
I think it's going to make a heck of a lot other guys better as well. We know he's a hard worker, and I know all the guys on the staff, they work hard, right? But when you have somebody like that to come on your staff, it really pumps everybody up just a little bit more. Some guys a little bit more, some guys a lot more.
First at bat of the afternoon for Trevor Story, replacing DJ LeMahieu. Alex Torres, for most of last season, the only lefty in the Padre bullpen.
Well, the one thing about Alex was last year's walks, 33 walks in 54 innings. You know, the strikeouts are still there. The opponent's batting average is not bad at 230. Kept the ball in the yard, only 2 home runs, but got to cut down on the walks. Sometimes mechanically the body gets out in front of the arm, and the arm has a tendency to drag a little bit. Therefore, the release point is off and can't fire quality strikes.
Teammates with Will Myers a couple of years ago in Tampa Bay. Came over in that Logan Forsythe trade last year before the season, along with Jesse Hahn, who of course is now in Oakland, part of the Derek Norris trade. Could draw a lot of spider webs with this Padre roster now, guys that have been here and there. The fun one, of course, is Shields and Myers, once traded for each other, Kansas City and Tampa Bay. It's neat watching the roster come together, and obviously this offseason was unlike most off seasons in the history of baseball for any team. With all the moves that A.J. Preller's made, and now it's gelling and coming together, and it'll be fun to see what it's like in the regular season. 2 balls and a strike to Story, who chases. 2-2.
Alex has got the giddy up. He's got the sneaky fast fastball. He's fastball changeup heavy. You know, it's almost as if the breaking ball is a look-see pitch, right? Doesn't want to really throw it for a strike, just give the hitter a different look. It will be out of the zone if he's got 2 strikes. He likes to throw that changeup as his secondary pitch.
2-2 coming, and it's strike 3 called. Back-to-back strikeouts for Alex Torres here in inning number 6. Padres 2015 Fan Fest, presented by State Farm, is happening at Petco Park on Saturday, April 4th. It's free for the entire family, and it's an event to celebrate you, the fan. Don't miss your chance to get up close and personal with players and coaches. Free passes for Fan Fest will be available online beginning tomorrow, Monday, March 9th at 9 a.m. Go to Padres.com/FanFest. First at bat for Rosel Herrera. And Torres bounces one in front of the plate for ball 1. FanFest is going to be fun. It includes that exhibition game against the Mexico City Red Devils. April 4th, Petco Park. See you there. Might see the new video board in action.
We're televising that game.
Yes, we are. That's a liner past Torres and into center field. So Herrera, 2-out base runner. And that'll get Kyle Parker to the plate.
This is how quickly it happens. Right back at you. See the movement of that baseball off the bat? Wow. Hey, Alex not going with the protective hat in spring training. He's got the traditional spring training hat.
See if that comes back this season. First at bat for Parker today. Made his major league debut last season in a game against the Dodgers. Comes up swinging, fouls the first pitch away. Got his first big league hit against the Padres last July 9th. Spent most of the year last year at AAA Colorado Springs. You see the numbers. First time he made it to the AAA level. 3 separate stints with the big league club last year.
You been to Colorado Springs?
The Sky Sox? I have not. It's like Coors, right?
It's higher than Coors.
Wow.
Yeah, Colorado Springs is 6,000 plus.
More than a mile high.
Mm-hmm. It's like pitching on the moon.
Just you bounce from base to base.
It's unbelievable.
Pacific Coast League, pitchers beware. A lot of tough places to pitch.
That's why if you're a pitcher in the PCL and you've got an ERA right around 4, you're doing well.
Yeah. For a lot of the scouting and all that is so important. You can't just look down at a box score if you're not watching these games and get a sense of how a guy is doing. The numbers can be very misleading. Not unlike what they're like in Colorado, you know, for the Rockies and the big league club. I mean, last year, again, numbers heavily skewed at home offensively. Best OPS in all of baseball at home.
What'd they do on the road, though, Jess?
29th.
Ouch. Highest ERA for the pitching staff, 4.89. Highest average, though, hitting, right?
There you go.
276.
And another batting title for a Rocky last year.
That's right.
Justin Morneau last season led the National League. 7 different Rockies have won 9 batting titles, and the team's only been around for 22 years. So 9 of the 22 years, the National League batting champion has come from Colorado.
Helton, Galarraga.
Morneau. Great players.
Yep.
But, obviously, you get some help there. Torres keeping an eye on the base runner, Rosel Herrera. Parker can play infield, play outfield. Big-time football player, too, if the name sounds familiar. Quarterback at Clemson for a couple of years. For you ACC fans out there.
Oh, Mike Pomerantz is just jumping for joy right now.
Wondering why I didn't mention it sooner.
Mike, of course, pitched at Clemson for the Tigers.
Great baseball program.
Mm-hmm. Great pitcher, Mike Pomerantz.
Mm-hmm. Set all kinds of passing records for the Clemson Tigers his freshman year. Parker, not Pomerantz. Torres with a double check at the runner and comes home with the payoff pitch missing high, ball 4.
So this is where with Torres, you know, you look at the opponent's batting average against, I believe it was 231. Fewer hits than innings pitched, but see, this is where the walks came and hurt him. You give up a walk or 2, and then you give up that hit. It results usually in a run.
Couple of outs now, and Matt McBride going to get another at-bat as Buddy Black looks on. Torres struck out Culberson looking, punched out Trevor Story, and it was a quick couple of outs here, but then the Herrera single up the middle, the walk to Parker, and now runners on first and second for the Rockies. For McBride, who, as you see, is 0 for 3. 21 games, the big league level last year for McBride. Made his debut in the majors with Colorado back in 2012. Spent most of his time at AAA the last few years. Collected 7 hits for the Rockies last season, 4 of them going for extra bases. There you go. Padres got 4 runs in the first inning this afternoon. Rocks came back with 2 in the second and 3 in the third. A couple of those runs unearned against Tyson Ross. Torres comes home with a one-strike pitch and a nice block by the new backstop, Tim Fedorovich.
Yeah, and how quickly it can change, especially here in spring training with the wind, the conditions. You know, you thought with the 4 runs in the bottom of the first for the Padres that it was going to be a hit fest. But the Rockies have thrown up zeros 2 through 5.
Some nice relief work by Dale Thayer and Joaquin Benoit last couple of innings. Some strikeouts from those guys, and Torres with a couple of Ks here in the 6th. Strike 2.
Looked like a change up there from Torres. He's got a good one.
One, 2 to McBride. In the dirt, another nice stop by Fedorovich. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That's one of the points you were making earlier, Jesse, about Fedorovich, the backup position for the Padres.
So will Nieves get the start this afternoon? Fedorovich, a familiar name. The Dodgers the last couple of years. Spent most of last season, AAA. You kind of mentioned it earlier. Buddy Black passionate about the pitcher-catcher relationship and the dynamic. Puts a lot of emphasis on it, especially here in spring training. 2-2 is lifted in the air to left. That's Almonte. Runner's going to try and come home. Throw from left field is not in time. Fedorovich could not get the tag down. McBride ends up at second base. It's an RBI single as the Rockies add another.
This ball hit sharply, and everybody is in motion on this one hopper to left field. Now, Fedorovich, remember, he has to leave a lane for the runner. He's on the foul side. He's got to go one way and then come all the way back to try to get out in front of home plate to apply that tag. Wasn't the case, but he did everything in his power to try to make that play happen. That throw from left field just kind of leaked a little bit to the foul side of home plate.
Yeah, that collision rule last year definitely changed some things for the catchers and the way they got to approach stuff. It's a called strike to pinch hitter Ryan Castile. It's not easy on the catchers. You got enough to think about, trying to track the ball coming from the outfield, trying to, you know, make sure you're in the right place, but also in a position to make the play.
And that's tough for a catcher, isn't it? I mean, let's face it. You're a catcher as a kid. I'm sure you play other positions, but then you go to high school, college. That's your main focus. You go through pro ball, and then all of a sudden, now they're going to change the rules on you to where you're taught to anchor in front of home plate. It's changing your game.
Not an easy thing to do at all, but all in the name of safety. Another nice block by Fedorovich there. Now 1-2.
And, you know, usually your catchers are your toughest guys who want to get down and get dirty and block that plate, but not the case anymore.
Castile, a non-roster invitee, up here with the big league camp for the second time in his many years. Hammers that one out to center. Will Venable drifting back on the track makes the catch, and the side is retired. Colorado adds another on the RBI single from Matt McBride. Rockies now a 2-run lead over the Padres, 6-4.
No, you can't beat fun at the old ballpark.
Exciting start of a season, having fun, picnic on the grass. Chris Rusin continuing to work for the Rockies.
Don't you love the changes in spring training? It's great, isn't it?
It's one word for him.
Get a chance to see the younger talent.
Tim Fedorovich first at bat after coming in as a defensive replacement for Will Nieves in the 5th. Fedorovich 1 for 4 so far this spring. Knocked in a run with his only hit. Fouls that one out of play. Came over with Matt Kemp in that big trade with the Dodgers. 23 games with the big league club last year. Hit .328 at AAA Albuquerque with 14 homers, 48 RBI. He was up and back a couple of times thanks to the A.J. Ellis injuries, especially early on in the season. Tops that one foul outside of third. Those are the big league numbers with the Dodgers.
And we know, being a backup catcher, what's most important is handling a pitching staff, blocking baseballs in the dirt. You know, the 113 can be overlooked if your game is just that, calling a good game, keeping your pitchers in line, right?
Yeah. Well, it's, again, something that Buddy Black is really passionate about. And he was asked at one point this spring, what about that sort of pitcher-catcher dynamic is most important? Nice charge into that one from Fedorovich. It'll get over Parker and hop up against the wall. He had an RBI double on Friday against the White Sox, and Tim Fedorovich with his second two-bagger of the spring to lead it off here in the 6th. But Buddy said you want, as a pitcher, to feel and to know like the catcher cares. That was kind of the way he put it.
Absolutely. Counselor, cheerleader, coach, all of those fall under the category of being a good catcher.
Nice.
And that's what Fedorovich does, right?
Absolutely. Tommy Medica first at bat, pinch hitting here, and he takes the pitch outside. Medica came in, played first base last inning. Now in this leadoff spot, man on second, nobody out. Medica's off to another hot start this spring. Put up great numbers in Cactus League play last year.
I love his hack. He just goes after it.
Here's a good early spring batting average for you. It's 5 for 7.
That's 7-15?
14.
14.
I'll give you that. You get a half point?
Yeah.
So the numbers last year, really earned his way onto the big league opening day roster last year with a great spring. Started opening day in left field for the Padres last season.
Those are softball numbers.
7-14, puts a charge into this one, straightaway center. Herrera going back, all he can do is look. Fedorovich had to wait at second base. He's going to be waived. Throw comes in. There will not be a play at the plate. Fedorovich crosses home, and it's an RBI double from Tommy Medica.
Tommy Medica continues to crush the baseball. You know, we've seen some pull power from Tommy, but how about him going the opposite way to center field? He gets extended. Hey, maybe it's the number change. He changed his number again. He was 14 last year, but Mark Kotze, the hitting coach, wore 14, so he gave up that number. Number 7 now on the back of Tommy Medica.
Hit that one a long way, and here's another guy that can hit the ball quite a distance. Cody Decker, big hack. And strike one. Decker spent last season with the AAA El Paso Chihuahuas. Hit 25 home runs, 4th most in the Pacific Coast League. Played mostly first base last year. Hits that one off the end of the bat. Wong, the new second baseman, makes the throw as Medica advances to third base on the ground out. productive out from Cody Decker in this one-run game. Tying run now 90 feet away with one out, and Corey Spangenberg coming up.
Hey, Cody Decker's one of those guys who keep the ball club loose. He's a free spirit.
It's one way to say it.
Yeah.
Got a great personality.
Oh. Love the guy.
Sort of settled into, his situation, whatever it may be. Didn't get called up last year. Not selected in the Rule 5 draft this December. Back to El Paso, and you talk to him, he says, hey, all I can do is my thing.
And he's one of those players also to just be grateful to be in uniform and have a job, whether it's at the big league level or the minor league level. You saw some good things last year from this kid at the plate, Corey Spangenberg.
Made quite a splash in September last year. Couple of RBI in his major league debut on September 1st of last season, and then in his second game against the Diamondbacks, a pinch hit walk-off homer. Game 2 of his big league career. Big swing and a miss there, 1-2.
It's a nice way to break into the big leagues.
I'd say so. First player in Padre history to hit a walk-off within his first 2 career games. Kind of be interesting to see where Corey Spangenberg ends up this year. Whether it's at the big league level or AAA, what position on the infield. Even played some outfield last year. Versatile guy, can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Natural second baseman has the arm strength to play third. First round draft pick a couple of years ago. Can't connect there. And that's the second out of the inning as Rusin picks up his first strikeout of the day. Abraham Almonte pinch ran last inning for Carlos Quentin. First time at the plate here today. Runner on third, 2 outs. Rockies infield able to back up, and the first pitch from Rusin misses low, 1-0. Almonte came over to the Padres in that Chris Denorfia trade with the Mariners last year. Hits this one on the ground to short. Adams makes the throw, and that's it for the Padres here in the 6th. But they pick up another run against Colorado thanks to back-to-back doubles. Tim Fedorovich and Tommy Medica with a couple of 2-baggers. 6-5 Rockies after 6.
6-5, and with all these new faces around the clubhouse, sometimes you wonder, how did these guys in the day and age of social media find out they were being traded? Well, Tim Fedorovich has a pretty interesting story. He was playing winter ball in Mexico City and started hearing some rumblings from other friends. So because he was in Mexico City, didn't really have access to Wi-Fi, walks over to this taco shop that they would go to every day because that's where he could hook up to free Wi-Fi. Phone was blowing up, and that's how he first found out the news about possible trade with him and Matt Kemp coming over to the Padres.
It's incredible when you think about it, Chris. Yeah, I mean, you figure everybody is like in the loop on everything, but every year you hear a story like that. A guy finds out by watching, TV, or he finds out because he gets a text from a friend, hey, I just saw you were traded, or he goes to his local taco shop in Mexico and uses it's a funny thing.
It's just amazing, the technology these days, because back in the day, I remember getting off the bus in the hotel, hey, you going to meet in the lobby? I got to go up to the room and make a call, right? You had to go to your hotel room to make a call, to check in. Nowadays, free Wi-Fi.
Always interesting to hear how guys find out these things. That's a great story about Tim Fedorovich. Tommy Murphy here against the new Padre pitcher Brandon Alger. Minor league guy up from the minor league mini camp today to help out. Warming up earlier in the game. Now gets an opportunity to come in and pitch. Young left-hander. There's ground ball. Pretty softly to third. Nice pick by Corey Spangenberg. How about that? One away.
Ball came up on Corey just a little bit, and he reacts nicely to glove it. Looks pretty smooth over there at third base.
He's got the arm strength to do it there. Good athlete. And a nice play by Corey Spangenberg. So one out, and the first at bat for the new catcher for the Rockies, Dustin Garneau. Not to be confused with Morneau. And he takes a called strike from Alger. 0-1. Garneau holds off on that pitch. Low outside. One of the club's regular catchers at AA Tulsa last year. Midseason All-Star in the Texas League. Called up to AAA Colorado Springs. Between the two stops, combined to hit .240. 7 homers, 42 RBI. Up here at Big League Camp for the second time in his career. Hits that one off the handle, and another opportunity on the left side for Spangenberg. No problem with the sun. And another good defensive play at third base. 2 away here in the 7th. Christian Adames. First at bat. Came in to play third base an inning or two ago. And the first pitch misses high to Adames, 1-0. Made his major league debut at Wrigley Field last summer. Not a bad place to get the career started. Played in just 7 games with the Rockies last year. Went 1 for 15 at the plate. Spent most of 2014 AA Tulsa. And that's a nice grab at first base by Tommy Medica. Little glove work after the big hit last inning. Stretch time here in Peoria. Tommy Medica doing it at the plate and with the glove. Nice 1-2-3 inning for Brandon Alger.
excited than they are, nervous or, feeling pressure. It's because, they know how good we can be. It's just a matter of us going out and doing it. And, I think we got all the pieces just in the right mentality also. So, AJ said it to us the other day, there's a lot of guys with something to prove, so we don't need any added motivation.
Justin Upton, a well-motivated guy this year, traded from Atlanta, heading into a free agent season, and about as talented a hitter as we've seen in these parts in quite some time.
Justin Upton, just 27 years old, into his 7th year of Major League service.
Stud. Big-time home run the other day. He's been under the weather the last couple of days. That's why we haven't seen him. But he came in today. He worked out with the team, and he could be in the lineup tomorrow in Mesa against the Cubs. Reimer Liriano, first at bat here against the veteran left-hander John Lannon in Rockies camp this year.
Yeah, trying to make a splash for the Rocks. Had some successful years, the left-hander John Lannon.
See the home run last year for Liriano into the Western Metal Supply Company building. He homered yesterday in Scottsdale against the Giants. A big shot out to left center field. You know the power is in there for Reimer Liriano. Count goes to a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, not the best season last year for John Lannon. Not a lot of time either as far as innings are concerned. So that ERA, one bad outing, just spoils your ERA. He just skyrockets.
Made his debut with the Nationals back in 2007. They drafted him in the 11th round in 2005. Pitched most of his career with the Nats, a little time with the Phillies in 2013, and that brief stint with the Mets last year. Out of the NL East for the first time in his career. 2-2, and Liriano hits that one well, but foul down the right field line. Lannon, non-roster invitee. Liriano looks at that one, and it's strike 3 called right at the knees. So John Lannon in out of the bullpen, strikes out the first guy he faces, and Liriano's retired. First game of spring training, Justin Upton, we talked about the power, and we talked about that yellow line out in center field too, Mud.
Look at the extension. Look at the compact swing. The yellow line in play now. Anything above it? Wow. Sure, it's Arizona. Sure, it's spring training, but that ball's out in any ballpark during the regular season. In April, in June, in September.
Ramiro Pena takes strike 1. Everybody's
I love
making
his swing.
Oh, it's so nice. Compact,
yes.
Powerful. You talk about the yellow line. I mean, it's 410 feet out there. It's not like it's, 350, and that's why they've got a big blue wall. And you got to hit it 410 just to get it up on that thing. And he bounced it over that camera well in center field. It's a good view from out there. Ball and a strike to Pena. A little bit outside. Peoria Stadium, you get a look at the way this thing lines up. 410 straightaway center, 340 down the lines, and 385 to the gaps. Wind blowing out now. As Mud said, though, it changes all the time here in Arizona. Pena didn't like that call. 2-2.
A lot of these spring training facilities pretty symmetrical, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Cubs over in Mesa, their new place, I think it's the same as Wrigley Field.
I think they did that as well.
The wall, how it starts out and then it comes back in?
It's always made sense to me.
Absolutely.
I know the Red Sox have that in Fort Myers. It's like a little mini Fenway. Fenway South, I believe they call it. And, you're getting ready for the season, right?
Why not have your spring training facility the same as your home digs?
Nice base hit for Ramiro Pena. Good at bat there as he works one off of John Lannon. One out base runner for the Padres. And Will Venable going to come to the plate for the second time this afternoon. Second hit and 6 trips to the plate for Ramiro Pena this spring. Lefty-lefty matchup. Misses outside to Will. 1-0. Ground ball to second. Wong to Adames. They get one, and for the second time in as many trips up, Will Venable beats out a would-be double play, hustling up the line. And so 2 outs, runner on first, and Diego Goris will come to the plate.
Almost like last time Will Venable was up there, a ball not hit sharply, so enabling him to get down the line quickly and stay out of the double play.
Got a pinch runner at first base. Big Hunter Renfroe. Goris first pitch swinging, and a pop-up to the right side. Second baseman Wong makes the catch, and that's the 3rd out here in the 7th. We'll head to the 8th inning in Peoria, 6-5 Colorado. Fox Sports San Diego. Join Steve Hartman and Mike Costa as they get you dialed in on the latest sports news and updates. Extra 1360 Fox Sports San Diego returns tomorrow after the Clippers live post-game show. Check that out tomorrow night. Crowd on the berm thinning out a little bit. Everybody's getting their sun in on a beautiful afternoon in Peoria, Arizona. Padres playing at home here today after a win in Scottsdale against the Giants yesterday. And the new pitcher is non-roster invitee Justin Hancock. Pitched at Double-A San Antonio last year. Started 14 games. Missed some time with a right forearm strain. Get an opportunity to pitch the 8th inning here against the Rockies.
Always a treat for a minor leaguer to come over, whether you're invited, whether you're a non-roster invitee, to get an inning or two. Because let's face it, Jesse, you know, innings are limited, right? They've got their guys who they want to have to get their work in. So this is a great opportunity for Hancock. Hold him at 5 as we go late into the game.
Makes a lot of sense. Corey Spangenberg with a couple of words of encouragement for the new pitcher, Justin Hancock. Next telecast coming up on the 14th, 1 o'clock. A.J. Preller's old team, the Texas Rangers, will be here. Second appearance for Hancock this spring. Pitched a 1-2-3 inning. His only other time up. Facing off with the second baseman, Wong. Fouled away, and he's ahead of him, 0-2.
No, I'm getting this from the media guy. Justin Hancock, born in Defiance, Ohio. Chad Billingsley, right? Defiance, Ohio? And I think Clayton Kershaw is from that area as well. But how does a city like Defiance, I mean, Defiance just always sticks out, right?
Yeah, no, it's an easy one to remember.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 9th round pick back in 2011. Did some Arizona Fall League this past year. As Wong hits one out to left field. Liriano is there now on the run. He reaches down and makes the catch. Reimer Liriano showing some great range out in left field. A nice running grab to retire Wong for the first out here in the 8th.
Now there's a position player picking up Hancock. Looks like he started in a little bit, went out, and then went over. And that's where speed comes into play. If you don't take the right route right out of the gate, you got to make up the difference. It's a big out.
Talk about how difficult it is to see the ball, especially in left field here in Peoria. And Liriano with the athleticism to track that one down. Trevor Story 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Leads back and takes a ball from Hancock. 6 starts for the surprise team in the AFL for Hancock this year. 1-0. That one's fouled off out of play.
Actually, Clayton Kershaw was born in Dallas.
Texas?
Yeah.
Okay. Not Dallas, Ohio. I didn't know. Trying to help you out. Is there a Dallas, Ohio?
There's got to be.
That's your project for this half inning. One away here in the 8th. Hancock, the 7th pitcher used by the Padres this afternoon.
Chad Billingsley, I was right, is from Defiance.
Okay. You knew it.
Yeah, I knew it was one of the two. That's a 500 average. I'll take that.
Swing and a miss now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Anybody else famous from Defiance?
Don't know.
It's a great name.
It is.
Off the end of the bat to right field. This is Renfroe, fresh into the game. Makes the catch. 2 away. You know, Hunter Renfroe is an interesting guy in that you look at him, he's a big hulking power hitter, but he's a good athlete. He can run out there.
I really like him. And yeah, I'll be quite honest with you. Haven't seen a lot of him playing, but talking to scouts and see what they say about the youngster. And his name being thrown about other teams, right? In trades, right?
Sure. Big piece.
I think he's a player which, you know, I hope the Padres would hang on to. You know what I'm saying?
There's the first pitch strike to Russell Herrera. Yeah, Renfroe, the kind of guy that he's got value to other teams, certainly, but he's value to the Padres
Absolutely.
as well. Corner outfield, power bat. Check swing roller to first. Tommy Medica.
Oh.
Tries to take it himself, and he can't. He missed the tag on Herrera. Or at least so says the first base umpire. I'll give him an infield single, but a little bit of a misplay over at first base.
Boy, Herrera getting down the line quickly. Check swing. Willie Mays Hayes style. Now the race is on. Hancock kind of gets in the way. Oh, he may have gotten him.
No instant replay this year in spring training, just in the regular season.
He got blocked there by Hancock.
So a runner on first with 2 outs, and Kyle Parker at the plate for the second time. He walked his first time up. Hey, you know John Neese from the Mets?
Yes.
Defiance, Ohio.
Really?
Yeah. Remember Doug Blair?
Yeah, Tigers, right-hander.
Defiance, Ohio. They got some kind of baseball program
Yeah,
there.
they do.
All right, we're done with Defiance, Ohio.
I defy you to find another player.
I don't want to be defiant. Can't hold up there. 0-1. Padres down a run here in the top of the 8th inning. Got 4 in the first.
You know, there's another thing Buddy Black looks at, Jesse, is late in a game like this, can a reliever hold the opposition?
Absolutely. There's a ground ball to short. And nicely done by Pena. And the side is retired. Fielder's choice finishes the Rockies here in the 8th. We go to the bottom half. Pods down 1. It's a family affair here in Spring. Those guys are having a blast out there, dancing to the music. Rico Noel pinch hitting for Tim Fedorovich. And he takes ball 1 from John Lannon, who's out there for a second inning of work. Fedorovich doubled and scored in his only at-bat this afternoon.
Well, Rico Noel, an interesting player in the Padres system, a homegrown Padre back in 2010, started in Eugene and then Fort Wayne. But I remember talking to some of the coaches years past about Rico Noel. They said probably one of the top outfielders as far as in the minor leagues are concerned. Going to get him.
Got a lot of speed.
Yeah.
Spent all of last year with the Chihuahuas, AAA El Paso.
Boy, in 2012, Lake Elsinore, he stole 90 bases.
32 steals last year. Takes a strike on 3-0.
In 544 minor league games for Rico Noel, he's
Noel at first represents the tying run. Got a nice lead over there, and Medica takes ball 1 inside. Medica did a nice job against left-handed pitching last year. 6 home runs against southpaws. He hit 9 overall. That was the second most home runs against lefties by any rookie in baseball.
I just love it. And I said it earlier before the double. I just love how he doesn't get cheated.
Power swing. It's fun to watch.
He doesn't feel for the ball. He goes after. He attacks the baseball.
Attacks that one and skies it to the left side. Story, the third baseman, in the sun, called off, and a nice catch by the shortstop Adames. Noel's got to scurry back to first base. Adames got there after Story did, but took control of the situation, made a nice tough catch.
This is a tough catch, and this is why the shortstop making the play from his position. It's a better angle. Still, though, he's got his back to the infield. Calling off third baseman. Rather than backpedal, he's got an angle going at it towards the line.
Here's Cody Decker, 1 out, runner on first. There's a check on Noel. Earlier talked about the power for Cody Decker and all the home runs he hit last year for the Chihuahuas. 6 years in the Padre organization now, 133 home runs, the most ever by a Padre minor leaguer.
That's an interesting stat.
Yes, it is. Told him about it when I saw him in December. Patrick Kurish, who does media relations and communications work for the Padres. He did a little research and he came up with that. He told Decker about it. And he, at first, as you would imagine, wasn't quite sure what to think, but then he kind of smiled and embraced it. Set a record like that, most minor league home runs. Obviously, It means you're in the minor leagues, but it also means you're productive and you're doing what you can. And what Cody Decker can do is hit the ball a long way. But yeah, he is the Padres minor league home run king. Hits this one back over everything out of play. Nothing in 2.
And you know what? I'm sure there's not an individual out there who handles it better than Cody Decker. Right?
Probably, yeah. Behind in the count here. Noel at first base, hasn't yet tried to take second. Stretches that lead out a little bit. It's a healthy lead. Swings and misses. Strike 3. Cody Decker down on strikes. Second K for John Lannon. And with 2 outs, Corey Spangenberg try to keep the inning going for the Pods. Veteran guy, Lannon, non-roster invitee here. He is pitching in the 8th inning of an early spring training game. Trying to go out there, show he can still get guys out.
Mentioned it earlier. Minor leaguer guys. Very valuable inning right here for John Lannon.
Spangenberg grounds out to third, and that'll do it for the Padres here in the 8th. We head to the 9th in Peoria, still a one-run game. We start the 9th inning here in Peoria. Padres will bring in Lionel Campos to pitch, but we talked about some of the pace of game initiatives being put forward by Major League Baseball. Also some updates to the replay rules. We saw expanded instant replay in the regular season for the first time last year. No more manager slowly jogging out to the umpire to try and buy some time. That's one of the big changes.
Yeah, that's the big one right there. So from the top of the dugout, you can get the umpire's attention and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to wait a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go for that challenge. And the process will take over. And then after third out of a half inning, manager must leave dugout immediately to alert the umpires of a possible challenge.
You know which one I really like? That fourth one.
Yeah.
If you win a challenge, you get another. It's not just limited. Last year, if you won one, you got another. But it's not going to happen very often. But if you have to challenge 3 calls and you keep winning them, there's no reason you should lose your challenges right there. So it's theoretically now an infinite number of challenges if you keep getting them right. All about that.
It's kind of like a game show. You just keep on going and going and going. Like, you know, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
That's it.
Yeah.
You keep risking it.
Right.
Yeah. Lionel Campos, the new man, out on the mound, as we mentioned, most of the last year with Double-A San Antonio. Some time with the Triple-A Chihuahuas as well. They made his Major League debut with the Padres last September. Appeared in 6 games for the big club. Pitched 7 innings. 9 strikeouts and 4 walks.
Yeah, the one thing I remember about Campos last year was the location of the fastball, locating that heater. Sometimes a little difficulty. Live arm, always going from the stretch.
27-year-old guy trying to make it as a professional baseball player after starting his professional sports career as a soccer player in Venezuela. Really neat story, and made the transition professionally from soccer to baseball.
And another pitcher trying to rebound from Tommy John surgery back in 2012.
Misses outside there. 2 balls and a strike. The 2-1 pitch is chopped foul outside of first base. See the numbers for Lionel Campos at the big league level in September. Came up, got his feet wet at the major league level.
You know, whenever I think of relievers in spring training, I think of going out to that mound. It's all chewed up. You know, it's hot. It's been baking in the sun for about 3 hours. And you've got to deal with those different holes. You got to do a little bit of landscaping yourself to get your footing right. So Campos has to deal with here in the top of the ninth.
Always these different kinds of challenges, and foul ball stays alive.
But the fields these days, Jesse, I mean, over the last 15, 20 years, the conditions have just gotten so much better at the spring training facilities. I remember back in the day, back in the early 80s, it's like playing on a parking lot.
Yeah. You talk about the hard infield, and that's a matter of environment as much as anything else, but the grass is so well maintained in between games. They really manage everything so nicely. And talk about some of the renovations here in Peoria this offseason to the stadium, but part of the deal too. Brand new playing surface here, good drainage, all that kind of stuff. It's really big league quality, and you kind of feel like it should be. And big league players out here trying to get ready for the big league season.
You think spring training's too long?
That's a question for you, Mr. Pitcher. Those are the guys I think about when you hear that. The pitcher's got to get ready. That's really what it's for as far as I'm concerned, as much as anything. 2-2.
And you know what? The fans love it. I mean, let's face it. I'm a fan, right? The more games, the better. But, there's a fine line when you start talking about that. And my feeling is this. The guys nowadays are so in shape, stay in shape during the offseason, to where I think they don't need as long as spring training as they used to back in the day.
Sure.
Because they already come into camp.
Yeah.
I mean, basically ready to go.
What about stretching out the arm, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Because how much throwing are you doing in the offseason if you're a James Shields?
Everybody's got their own program.
Yeah.
Usually take about a month off, and everybody's different. So let's say, you're not in the playoffs. You take the month of October off, and then you start playing some catch in November. Then past the holidays, maybe you hop up on a mound, a month before spring training, maybe 3 weeks before spring training. Of course, everybody's different.
Good battle here between Tim Wheeler and Lionel Campos continues, leading off the top of the ninth inning. .6'4" outfielder waits for Campos, and another payoff pitch is fouled off down the left field line and out of play. Lionel Campos appearing in a game for the second time this spring. Gave up a run, struck out a couple of guys in his only other outing. Eleventh pitch of the at-bat coming. Campos delivers, and he got him. Wheeler went down and chased. The new catcher, Griff Erickson, will complete the strikeout by throwing down to Tommy Medico. That's the first out here in the ninth.
Well, Erickson behind home plate, a big kid, big catcher, great technique, going to his right, and good off-speed pitch from Campos. Pulling the string. Good arm speed, different grip, takes a little bit off, plus a little bit of movement, and you got the strikeout.
Griff Erickson, a San Diego guy, 15th round pick of the Dodgers in 2006 and signed a contract with the Padres this November. He got in on the ground floor before all the craziness happened.
Yeah.
Good opportunity to play in his hometown team's organization, but as you said, big kid.
He's an El Capitan Vaccaro.
Yes, he is.
Vaccaro, I should say. I'm thinking Brenda Vaccaro. What am I thinking?
Second at bat for Castile, and he fouls that one back to the screen, 1-1. Strike to Castile.
I'd be like, yeah, absolutely.
Big season at Double-A Tulsa last year. 16 home runs after he hit 22 the previous year in the California League, and he splits the gap this time. Renfroe's got to go to the wall to retrieve it. Castillo digging around second. He'll hold up there with a one-out double.
Good piece of hitting by Castillo, taking that breaking ball, boy, getting on top of that and grinding it the opposite way. It almost looked like he was hitting down on that baseball, that breaking ball.
So he's down at second base with one out, and a pinch hitter here in the designated hitter spot for the Rockies, Audrey Perez. Non-roster invitee and a catcher's. That one gets away from Erickson. And Castillo will go to third base on the wild pitch.
Oh, that was a 56-footer right there from Campos. Looks like Griff Erickson did everything he could to try to block that one, but it just hit so far out in front. Couldn't keep it in front of him. Erickson anticipating that. Oh, wow. Way out in front.
Infield comes in for the Padres, and Perez fouls that one off the plate. Perez 0 for 2 so far this spring. Spent his entire career up to this point in the Cardinal organization. Last year, most of the season with the Memphis Redbirds, hit .292, 6 homers, 33 RBI. Appeared in one game with the big league club. Made his major league debut with the Cards in 2013, won at bat in 2 games. As you see the infield in, Spangenberg and Pena on the left side, Goris and Medica on the right side. Runner on third, one out, and a foul ball down the right side, out of play.
You know, speaking of Griff Erickson, since he's a local kid, we're talking about again, but nice article in the UT the other day about Griff. Spent some time at El Capitan, as I said, but also went to Westview High School. Gorman Charles Erickson. Griff.
6'4", list him at 220.
And full of muscle.
Yeah, you can see even behind the plate when he's crouched down. He's a big guy. Fastball hit in the air, right center field. Almonte, Renfroe converging. Renfroe reaching back and making the catch. Nice running grab by Hunter Renfroe. That'll get Castillo home. And the Rockies add another here in the top of the ninth. Now a 7-5 lead for Colorado.
Always an adventure with that ball hit to the outfield. You've got the sun, you've got the sky. A lot of real estate out there. And that's when communication is so key for the outfielders.
Especially when you've got unfamiliar partners out there. Almonte and Renfroe obviously haven't spent a lot of time playing the outfield next to one another. So that verbal communication becomes even more key. 2 outs, base is empty. Dustin Garneau watches that one skip in for ball 1. Second at bat for Garneau, who popped up to Corey Spangenberg at third base, his first time up. Almonte, Liriano, and Pena due for the Padres in the bottom of the ninth. Trailing at this moment by 2. That one's hit out to center field. Almonte judging the sun, backing up with the wind, making the catch, and that's it for Colorado here in the ninth. Rockies add another run. We'll go to the bottom half, 7-5 Colorado. Ninth inning, have you heard? Every Friday, all season long, Petco Park will be home to San Diego's biggest and best Friday night happy hour. Listen to live music, get awesome food and drink specials, and enjoy the sunshine before the game every Friday starting at 5 p.m. at the Park at the Park. Admission is free with your ticket to that evening's game. Get your Friday game tickets today at Padres.com/tickets. Every Friday night home game. Best happy hour in San Diego. Coming up, our next telecast this week, Thursday, against the Dodgers. That game was originally a day game. It got moved to 6 p.m., so we'll have that for you here on Fox Sports San Diego. A little bit of a different looking and sounding booth. You'll have to stay tuned to check that one out. Going to be a special night on Thursday. Dodgers and Padres, 6 p.m. We hope that you'll tune in. Yohan Flande, left-hander, out on the hill, going to try and close it out for the Rockies. He made his Major League debut last June after 9+ seasons playing minor league baseball. Saw Flande a little bit at the end of last year, pitched in 16 games for the Rockies. But from 2005 until last June, minor leaguer. Every single year, every pitch he threw was in the minor leagues. Finally got that call last season. Abraham Almonte greets him with a base hit up the middle on the first pitch. And the Padres will get the tying run to the plate here in the bottom of the ninth.
Hey, a bloop and a blast. I don't care if it's the regular season, if it's spring training. Buddy Black and his staff trying to win a spring training exhibition game, and it's a good way to start for Almonte, going right up the box. Underneath the glove of Flande.
For Abraham Almonte, his first hit of the spring. And here's Reimer Liriano, 0 for 1 on the afternoon. He wanted the bloop and the blast. Reimer certainly got the power. Had that home run yesterday against the Giants. And he takes a called strike from Flande. 0-1. Pitch misses to Liriano. Mud, with all the attention to the international market this offseason in particular, and some of the Cuban stars, Reimer Liriano, a neat story. The first player from the Padres Dominican Academy, which opened almost 10 years ago now, to make it all the way up to the big leagues when he appeared last year. Signed as a 16-year-old originally. Pops this one up. Foul, first base side, out of play.
And you bring up an interesting point because it's worth discussing. A lot of baseball fans talking about it, baseball people talking about it. The possibility, and I think there has to be one, an international draft.
Yeah. Seems like it's only going to be a matter of time.
I mean, you've got these players like from Cuba and other countries that are coming over, and hey, good for them. They're signing for $30 million, and sure, the club has to, the dollar for dollar tax. There's that tax on the player, right?
Strike 3 called to Liriano. There is a tax, and it is a lot more complicated, I think, than maybe everybody realizes. Had a really good conversation about this very thing with Ben Badler of Baseball America earlier this offseason, and he does a great job covering the international talent that's out there in baseball. And he says, yeah, an international draft makes sense, but it's not as simple as saying, okay, everybody's in the pool, now we can draft them.
Right.
A guy from Cuba is different than a guy from Mexico, than a guy from the Dominican Republic, than a guy who plays in Japan. If they're under contract in a professional league in one of those places. So it actually is a pretty complex issue, but you get the sense that Major League Baseball wants to move things that direction. Get a look at Almonte over at first base. Ramiro Pena singled his first time up. Two for 6 so far this spring. Lines that one into center field, and that's the second base hit of the inning for the Padres. And big Hunter Renfroe is going to come to the plate with the tying runs aboard.
Well, from a pitcher's standpoint, you want to try to hold the opposition, right? Well, the Padres being down here in the ninth, last chance, trailing by 2, and putting something together. A couple of balls hit hard. Almonte up the middle. And a single to center.
And Trey Turner going to be the pinch runner over at first base. Talk about rule changes in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. I tell you that's a unique situation Trey Turner is in, huh? The player to be named later, still with the Padres, going to the Nationals. And when's the date? In June?
June, yeah, when the draft rolls around. So a very speedy pinch runner at first base and a very powerful batter at the plate in his 2-run game as Renfroe takes strike 1. Trey Turner, though the team can't say so, has been agreed as the player to be named later in the 3-team deal that sent Will Myers to Tampa, and different pieces between the Rays, Padres, and Nationals. Bounces away. Nice stop by the catcher, Garneau. But the rule is the guy can't be traded within the first year of being drafted. So Trey Turner is here in big league camp, appearing in games, playing for the Padres, despite the fact that it's assumed he's going to be traded to the Nationals as soon as he's allowed in June. Made a slick play in Scottsdale yesterday at shortstop. You can see what all the fuss is about. There's a ground ball to shortstop. That could be a double play. It could be the ball game, and it is. A 6-4-3 double play. And Johan Flande gets Hunter Renfroe to end this one and give the Rockies a 7-5 victory over the San Diego Padres. Started out fun for the Padres in the first inning. Yonder Alonzo in the second inning. In the first inning had a 3-run double. The Padres put their runs together, but the Rockies come from behind, and a 7-5 victory for Colorado here in this Cactus League game. Next telecast coming up on Thursday at 6 p.m. For Mark Grant and all of our Fox Sports San Diego crew, thanks for hanging out with us this afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll talk to you Thursday from Peoria.